Clink, clink.
Episode 8, the last podcast. So fruity.
That's good. Wow. Did you put it like that? Oh, no, I'm a bit camp.
Some of the clips out of context when you're editing them, you're like, right, sounds a bit mad.
So,
we're back. We took a week off to let these other podcasts try and catch up.
Just didn't work.
Failed.
Pointless. Also had to ingest a lot of music.
Yeah.
Released lately.
I was gonna say it's been a crazy couple of weeks.
Yeah.
So
back to back.
So we're not going to talk about any of that.
No.
We're saving that for next pod.
Yeah.
We're going to do Future's album.
K-Dot.
Oh yeah, he dropped. Kendrick's. Any other singles? I know, like Posty dropped a single.
Young Harleezy.
Oh.
I know you like Young Harleezy.
Churchill Downs.
Yeah.
What a guy. And also, we'll probably talk about, like, I guess, Doctor Strange and Moon Knight as well.
Yes.
Because we're not just a music review podcast. Certainly Doctor Strange. I don't know how much we'll have to say about Moon Knight. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, we'll chuck it in.
Yeah, I was going to say, it'll come up, won't it? So, yeah. But that's next week.
That's next week. Don't worry about
that.
Because we've got a big one for this episode.
Yes. We are going back to, like we did the other week with Drake. We're doing every single Weeknd album ranked, except for the highlights. That don't count. Why would you count
We'll
that?
leave that out.
Fucking bizarre. What?
That's basically just greatest hits.
Yeah, I was going to say, would you do like, if you did like, I don't know, Michael Jackson ranking, would you do like the greatest hits?
Well, you know when you go into HMV and they got like 2-pack best hits volume 1 or 2-pack best hits
or them fake Drake albums, the scriptures.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think apart from that, we're going to talk about all of them.
So yeah, we're gonna talk in depth each project one by one.
Yeah.
And at the end, we'll do our individual rankings.
Yeah, I was gonna say we'll sort of go through all of them in release order to begin with, just to sort of get our feelings across. Because we felt like with the Drake one, we sort of revisited a couple albums, and by the time we got to the top couple that were quite unanimous, we'd already
spoken.
Given
the best points.
I was gonna say it was kind of hard to find stuff as much to say. So yeah, strap yourselves in, grab I don't know what will get you hyped for the weekend. Rack up a line of your favorite
your finest cocaine.
Well, actually we're starting with Trilogy, so really it's like cocaine cut with like fucking diabolical nerds. So... Yeah,
so... I guess we go like that. So obviously we're not going to do Trilogy as one.
Yeah,
if you do, you're just a fool. We'll do the mixtapes individually.
Exactly.
As they were meant to be.
As God intended. Obviously, we will talk about Trilogy a bit, I'm sure. We'll have stuff to say. But yeah...
Because obviously you do get the free bonus
I was going to say, and we'll probably talk about like the re-recordings and stuff. Or the remix. Not remixes,
the remastered, mastered
the
versions,
the different sounds and that. So, what about the noise?
I guess we could do like a little bit at the end, but that's like.
I tried.
It's tough.
These past 2 weeks of preparation, I've listened to every single Weeknd album and project in general, a bunch of unreleased stuff. I was listening to the noise literally like half an hour, 40 minutes ago. I got how many songs in? 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 songs in, and I was like, fuck this. I was like, nah, I've heard enough. I've heard like the 2 I like.
There's like 2 gems on there that I like.
So yeah, let's get into it. A little known project called House of Balloons he started with. 2011. what? Fuck me. What do you say about House of Balloons? What
tape?
I think we said this before on a pod where it was like it might have even been the Drake pod where I said the Weeknd really like came into the world like fully formed. Like everything you need is in House of Balloons. Like it's not like he was like, oh, let me try this. Oh, I'm not sure. Because Drake, like, where do you start? If you start with So Far Gone, like, cool, but it's not a fully realized
version of the artist.
Yeah.
Whereas like Weeknd came in with a set of ideas and a sound that just it was such like a personality in his music where it was so distinguished. There was nothing like it at the time.
Yeah.
And it like spawned like a generation of artists trying to replicate.
Honestly, and like the maddest thing for me, because normally I don't listen to it like end to end like that. Like, I love when an artist's first song on their first project just like sets them up. Like, it reminds me of like when you listen to P1 by Party Next Door. Welcome to the party. You're just instantly like,
here we go.
Yeah,
sets the tone perfectly.
Like High for This is the exact same thing where it's like you're just like, okay. Like, what you're in for. Like, it's so like such an atmosphere. Like,
it's you say, it sets the tone perfectly, and it's kind of accessible in a obviously it's not a mainstream sounding song, but I've heard it used in like aftershave ads. Stuff like that. Like, it's a great opener to the project, and then from there, just the whole project flows in such a smooth way.
I was going to say, I think that's the main thing I had this time listening through it, is I realised, like, the pacing of this album is, like, impeccable, where, like, it never lingers too long on one feel. It's never too... You won't get, like, too down and depressing songs in a row. It'll be, like, high energy, low... Like, it's like a fucking roller coaster of like ups and downs.
Genuinely, yeah.
Which suits the feel so well because it's like a drugged out nightmare at times.
And it's the thing about House of Balloons is it does just the idea when you hear about. So a little bit of context with House of Balloons is something that the Weeknd said before. Is the idea of him and his one of his friends. They used to rent an apartment / like house type complex, and they would literally just throw parties with a bunch of balloons.
Yeah, like literally shitty party just to get like shit parties, girls to come over, and basically.
Just people would be coming in and out on a daily basis to the point where half of the people they just wouldn't know who they were. And the thing from him saying that about the project, it relates to the music so well because it feels like you're listening to a house party. As in, you've got songs where it would be one where you're sitting on the sofa chilling, just relaxing, and then there's songs where you're like up, fucking coked up.
But like I think the key with that is it's not house party music.
No,
that's like a P1, for example. You put that on at like you're at the house party. You want to get like you wouldn't put House of Balloons on, but this feels how you might feel at like a shit house party, like where you're just like, oh man, why am I here? Like, I don't even know none of these people. Like,
it's like you've got the anxiety. You feel the anxiety in some of the songs. Obviously, like the sexual nature of the project, you've got that in there. It's like, I don't know.
And it like manages to balance this line between like sexy and like fucked up. Yeah, you know what I mean? And Weeknd all with different projects lean into each side of that in different ways. You know what I mean? Like, as we'll get down, like, I mean, even the very next one, Thursday, but, Kissland, stuff like that will lean more into the, like, grosser, like, it's kind of nasty, whereas then you have stuff like Beauty or whatever, where it leans much more into, like, oh, I'm a sexy R&B, like, you know what I mean? This kind of strikes a balance between them.
He puts across this persona as, like, he is a bad person. Where it's just, it's all about the sex and the drugs. Like, a good contrast in the track list, when you compare the party and the after party, with a song like House of Balloons, Glass Table Girls.
Mm.
Even in the transition between the party and the after party, you get that type of feel where the party is it's like very sexy, laid back, chilled, and then the after party is like, I got a brand new girl.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say, I mean, I think to date the after party is probably still his darkest song, like tonally, lyric wise, like. There you're dealing with like overdoses, attempted suicide with like the give me right attention, I'll start drowning from my wrists. That like it's just so like pitch wet, but it's not like oppressively like, oh fuck me, I don't even want to listen to this. Sort of.
He would then pair it with a line like, baby, if you knew like the feeling I would give to you.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
He's talking about OD, and then in the next sentence he's like, you know, like I can still make you feel good.
Which I think goes back to what you're talking about it being this like house party where it's like, oh man, I'm kind of fucked up, but like I'm still trying to move to her.
Still trying to
sort
meet
of
though.
thing. You know what I mean? It really has that feel of like
and
trying to like ignore everything.
And across all of his music, I think this is one of the projects where it's most present is he can say some of the most out of pocket shit, but because he's got such a good voice, you just kind of.
I mean, Wicked Games
you don't even register
has
it.
one of the most like insane opening bars of a song ever. Like he literally goes, "I left my girl back home. I don't love her no more."
Yeah.
Like instantly, you're like, "Oh," but it just sounds so fucking good.
Yeah.
Like, and Wicked Games, I think, is one of the ones that really benefits from the original recordings because it has that like little kind of weird echoey intro that you don't get on Trilogy. And in general, I think this project benefit like with a lot of the Trilogy songs, it's sort of this weird balance of his vocals pop so beautifully on Trilogy, like the re-recorded, remixed, whatever versions.
Yeah,
like it really brings out like how good a singer he is. But like, is there merit to how gritty the originals feel?
It's interesting you say that because there's no doubt the production sounds cleaner on Trilogy.
And it sounds a lot, you know what I mean? It's more instrumental, like the drum loops are clearly drum loops on the mixtapes, whereas on Trilogy, they clearly re-recorded them with someone on drums. You know what I mean? Like, the difference is it sounds more expensive.
Oh, no, 100%. Like, if you were to listen to the original House of Balloons, because obviously now it's on Spotify, it's so easily accessible, there is a massive difference in the sound. But like you say, it feels rawer in a good way.
Yeah, I was going to say.
In a good way when it's not on Trilogy. And don't get me wrong, like there's not a massive difference. Like if you'd only ever heard Trilogy, it's not like you haven't heard
it's sort of like you know, when someone watches or plays like a remaster, it's never there's always something missing whenever they remaster a video game where you're like, oh, the original graphics though had like this, you know. I think of like Halo 2 where like the remaster's like fucking beautiful,
but some of the weapon sounds and it's not the.
I was gonna say it doesn't ruin the game by any means, but there is sort of this question of like, oh, was something lost in translation? And here especially because it is so gritty, I think the cheaper sound fits because it feels like you're in a cheap house party.
No,
you know what I mean? It's not like a mansion. The House of Balloons isn't a mansion,
especially with this project specifically, House of Balloons, more than any of them, because some of the tracks, even on Trilogy, like the sound that they're going for is raw and gritty, like the song House of Balloons, well, more so Glass Table Girls. That's meant to sound like fucking gritty, like we're racking up on the table.
I was gonna say
it's meant to, that's the idea behind the song. And then also is it What You Need with the sample, the Aaliyah sample?
Yeah.
That kind of gets cut from Trilogy.
Well, and the Coming Down one as well with the weird crying Japanese.
Yeah,
I think it's from an anime. The girl in the background. I think that is probably the biggest loss because you know the Aaliyah sample is cool, but it's only the beginning of that song. Yeah. Whereas the Coming Down one, like I don't know, it really adds to that ambience of that scene.
It just feels. It's gonna sound a bit stupid, but it feels more like a mixtape.
I get
this
what you mean.
form.
This feels like you would go on a website and download it.
Exactly. You'd zip it straight from the thing. Whereas like
you'd
Trilogy,
have to rename it in your iTunes folder,
which is
find
like
the artwork online.
Yeah. which is like a good thing. It's a positive point because it feels like you're listening to something that you shouldn't have. It's like such a weird. Obviously, I never heard it when it first came out, but at the time, because originally it was dropped on a website, wasn't it? House of Balloons. I think all the mixtapes.
Yeah, I believe so.
So I'm just at the time, imagine downloading this mixtape. You'd be like, this is so fucking weird and different.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, there was nothing like this at the time.
Yeah, and especially if you go from like the Drake cosign, you'd have been like, oh, okay, like, so what? He's a bit like Drake. Then you'd be like, ooh, this is something different.
Same year as Take Care, no?
Yeah, I think this predates it though.
It predates it, but obviously if you were to hear him on Take Care, which a lot of people, that's what they did, and then they
of course
went back and listened to this, you'd be like, whoa, like, is this the guy that was on Crew Love?
Yeah, exactly. You know, this is a much bleaker sound, and I think that's what makes this work. Where we're talking about, he's kind of a villain, you know. In a lot of Weeknd's music, he plays up the like it's a persona. Yeah, you know, I mean, The Weeknd is this drugged out Lothario that's just like fucking his life up constantly. And I think what a lot of the copycats don't get with House of Balloons is that he doesn't revel in it. No, like it ends with the knowing. Yeah, like he knows how self-destructive this lifestyle is. You know what? And constantly we're like zigzag. Like the most high energy track, Love Music, has to end with like a 4-minute outro of just depression, just to establish that like, nah,
depression harmonies is
you don't get to just have the fun times.
Yeah,
like, because how easy would it have been to have Love Music and then you had the knowing has like this long intro, but the fact that Love Music gets this long outro, I think shows that it's like no, you have to take the good and the bad. Like,
and it literally leads into arguably like the fucking saddest song on the tape.
I was gonna say, like, probably it's like that or Coming Down, right?
Yeah,
like,
but Coming Down is more like, it's sad in like a sexual way.
And it's like the opposite, because Coming Down's like he's cheated on his girl, you know. There's that bar I love where it's like when I'm faded I forget how much you mean to me. What is it, where he's like, know how much you mean to me. Like, he's sort of trying to make it sound romantic, but when you listen to it, you're like, oh man, that's quite fucked up. Like, you're getting high, forgetting about your girl, then being like, oh, but that's how much you mean to me. And it's like, well, that's fucked up.
And again, going back to the point, he like you say, when you first hear it, you don't really clock like the meaning behind what he's saying. He just makes it sound good.
Yeah, like exactly.
Another thing about this is I love, because obviously this is the first proper tape, I love the idea of splitting the songs. And obviously this is something he does a lot on Trilogy and even Kissland in places, but I love the idea, like, so your House of Balloons into Glass Table Girls, it's like just 6 minute songs where it's like it's got two parts, two halves to a song. Yeah. And again, it just like solidifies the idea of like, this is just meant to be a really fucked up house party.
Yeah, and I think something that once again is already here in the first tape that ties into that is the transitions. Yeah, so many of the songs like bleed together, which gives it that feel of like you're just at a house party and another song's playing. When did that start playing? You know what I mean? Like, you're wandering around fucked up. Like I love how Party in the After Party transitions into Coming Down, where it's like, oh, I just had this fucked up night. Now I'm like coming down. Same with like Glass Table Girls into the Morning, where it's like, I'm fucking gone right now. Like, and they work in isolation, where you don't need to play them together.
But when you do, it just adds to the music.
Yeah, like, once again, Love Music into the knowing, like.
And I know, obviously, we're talking about house right now, but this is something that's persistent in a lot of his early music. Like, in all of Trilogy, really, and Kissland especially does it really well. The transitions into songs.
And then, I mean, even to present day, like, obviously DawnFM.
Yeah, DawnFM.
You know what I mean? Like,
and in places after hours as well.
Yeah, exactly. This is one of those things where, like we're saying, he comes in so fully formed, so confident as an artist that, like, just instantly, like, he's The Weeknd. Yeah. It's not like you'll play this and be like, I mean, there will be these days, because, you know, it's like Blinding Lights, Save Your Tears, whatever, like, I can't feel my face, like poppy Weeknd. Okay, that will be a juxtaposition, but it won't be like a Drake, where I'm not confident that like if I give someone So Far Gone, they'll even like it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
This is the thing, because I know we were talking about DawnFM the other day, but that is really, it's like a back step in like the darkness and sexiness of After Hours.
Yeah,
it's like he got a lot of the fans back on side just with how the darker elements of After Hours, and then he kind of just shifted it again. I know they're similar in their like 80s inspired sounds, DawnFM more so, but it's just, you know, he's never afraid to switch.
Well, and I mean that's constant throughout, isn't it? Even within the mixtapes, they lean into different sounds. Then Kissland is like a different thing. Then
takes it even further.
Beauty went in another direction, and that to Starboy, and then Starboy to Melancholy. Like I think that's what's so likeable. Why did I say that so weirdly? Likeable about The Weeknd is just every tape has a different feel. You know, you said it, I think last pod, where you were like, he does eras so well.
Yeah,
like
and he does.
Era has a feel where like you can play a song and I'll be like, oh yeah, even if it's a feature half the time, you'll be like, oh yeah, he's in that Starboy feel, or it's.
I think that's the beauty of it, because
you could say it's the beauty behind the madness.
Whereas like, there's always that argument with The Weeknd where 90% of his fan base always say, we want Trilogy Weeknd. And don't get me wrong, like fucking I love Trilogy more than anyone, but it would have got stale after a while.
Yeah.
Because let's not forget, I'm trying not to talk about the other albums too much, but
Same.
Let's not forget everyone hated Kissland.
I was going to say,
which was like a spiritual
Kissland
successor to Trilogy.
I was going to say, is very much the Trilogy.
If anything, it takes it further in like the weirdness. And
yeah, I was going to say, we'll get to Kissland, but it sort of these days feels like a fourth part of Trilogy. And
all like the hardcore Weeknd fans, it's the 3 mixtapes in Kissland. Like that's the 4 they refer to, like as like the gold era. Like,
yeah, exactly. So, you know, that's what everything is going to be compared to some degree.
And it still is,
and rightfully so. You know, sometimes people are like, you got to listen to their early stuff, and you're like, yeah, but like it isn't as good as you remember. This is like. There's a reason that like people always talk about House of Balloons, and even if you don't talk about the other 2 or Kissland. It's
one of the projects I have where if someone ever told me they didn't like it, I'll just immediately assume they have a shit taste in music, because you can't tell me you don't like this. If you listen to this House of Balloons from start to finish and you tell me you didn't enjoy it, I was gonna say, even if it's not your cup of tea, just like the artistry, I can't imagine being like, oh no, shit. 2 out of 10. Yeah, shout the needle drop. that guy I don't know what.
Yeah, nah. I mean, literally, this is. I'm sure we'll talk about this more about to do with Beauty, but. I kind of just got into Weeknd before Beauty came out, so it was when the singles were out. And one of the first songs I heard was Wicked Games, and I remember immediately being like, whoa. Yeah. Like, I'd never heard anything like Wicked Games. Like, literally just that first, like, 2 bars. I was like, oh, what? You can say that on a song? Like, you can just, fuck it. Left my girl back home.
I don't fucking know.
She'll never fucking know that. Like,
no, genuinely, I had a very similar thing. First time I heard House of Balloons, I know I said it earlier, but I genuinely hadn't heard anything like it. To the point where
even nowadays, like the samples he picks here are so interesting. Like you got like Susie and the band, she's like the beach house, like so many. Yeah. Like these days, a lot of R&B samples are just other R&B songs. So it's sort of, even if you like it, sometimes it just feels like a snake eating its own tail sort of thing. Where it's like, this isn't something new. This is just,
it's like a cool
that thing I like.
Yeah. And it's interesting you say that, because again, when I first heard it, I was like, what the fuck is this? Like the sound, because the samples are very niche.
Yeah.
Someone like me or you, we wouldn't like. I know Beach House do have like a strong fan base, but like I had never listened to them.
Like I was gonna say they're niche.
They're, you know, very what I mean?
They're not a mainstream band.
And Weeknd, he's kind of done that throughout his career, where he clearly has a broad taste in music.
Yeah, exactly.
He likes he's got like a lot of niche.
I mean,
niche
even when he did that Memento Mori, his Apple Music thing recently, where he played like songs that inspired Kissland and the Kissland like reject songs.
Yeah,
so many like different vibes and interesting. We'll get to Kissland, but yeah, just like you said, it shows like that broad taste in music that he has. Also, thank God he changed the beat for The Morning. That original one
wasn't it?
Shows how the difference like production can make, because it's exactly the same lyrics, just a fucking weird sound. It's like, if you haven't heard it, it's sort of like it's like a slowed down version of the song, but like he's got this weird vocal effect going where he sounds like this. It's sort of like if Initiation was like really slow rather than being a fucking tweaker nightmare. But yeah, do you have anything in particular you want to... It's kind of hard to say stuff about House of Balloons, you know what I mean? Like,
it's because it's just, like I say, anyone watching that hasn't heard it, if you go and listen to it, you won't be disappointed. Like,
yeah, honestly,
there's not one miss on here. It never falls below like genuinely, it never falls below like a 10. Like the whole thing
genuinely,
there's
not a song here where I'm like, oh, it's all right.
I guess, should we talk about obviously you have 28.
Okay.
That gets added to it with Trilogy.
Yes.
So obviously with Trilogy, all the mixtapes got an extra bonus song, like, as part of like the compilation.
Yeah.
So and with House, it's 28. It's probably my least favorite of the bonus tracks. For me, not that it's a bad song. Like, I still do like it, and it does fit.
I don't know if it's my least favorite, but it's definitely not my favorite. But I do. I love the like meaning behind 28. Just where within the context of the album, it's like, oh, okay, this girl's like, the house party's over and she won't fucking leave him alone. But then you like read into the meaning, and it's like, is it about like fans and like how the fans have like heard his music and now like they won't leave him alone?
Yeah,
sort of
and
thing.
Like they think they're a part of his life.
Yeah, like you said, where he talks about this album being about those shitty house parties he threw. By us listening to the album, he's literally let us into his house, and now the like diehard fans won't leave because they're like, no, we want more of this. Like, just keep making this. Which I think is such an interesting concept for a song.
Yeah. The thing I will say is, again, it fits the mixtape. I think none of the bonus tracks feel out of place.
I think the only thing is, the Knowing is such a good ending to House of Balloons.
Yeah. And
28 will always feel like a bonus track,
which I don't like. Like, if it was somewhere else in the track list, I don't really have a place I would put it. But
yeah, in a way, it feels like an Echoes song. I don't know why. It just sort of reminds me of like Next.
Yeah,
same old song. Like,
but like you say, like the Knowing is such a powerful closing song.
Yeah,
it's hard to put any song after that. So, but no, again, like I said, it suits the tape. And it's worth being on there.
Yeah, as like the Knowing is so devastating. Putting another sad song after it, like, how are you gonna top him going, the more you the merrier? And like, oh, I'm still sad. Like, I don't know. It's just hard to. I'm already down here. You can't bring me lower. Yeah, even though you're trying.
Whereas like something like Echoes, you end with Echoes, which is like fucking so dark.
And then Till Dawn's a more R&B.
Still sad, like, in context, but like you say, more.
It's a lot smoother. It's an easier listen than like 28, when that piano kicks in. You're like, ooh.
Yeah, so House of Balloons.
What an album. Or mixtape, should I say. So then we're on to Thursday, which we kind of touched on last pod, where we were like, Thursday is like the drugged out side of House of Balloons, like run amok. Like, and this is the one where I'm like, I think you have to listen to the original versions over the trilogy ones, because he puts like this muffling effect on his voice on most of the songs, which I get. Thursday vocally has some of his best stuff on trilogy, but I don't know, it just adds to this feeling of like you're just fucking woozy out of it, like what the fuck is going on? Like,
yeah, it's like you said, I think it's out of the 3 mixtapes, it's definitely the most weird, and let's be real, like all 3 tapes are different and out there. But Thursday, like you say, it feels all over the place, not in a bad way, just
like a trip.
You're so,
you know
like,
what I mean?
Like you say, you're like, it's kind of presenting you're just out of it, and
I think up to like Birds Part 2, it tells such a strong like narrative, which you kind of get on House of Balloons, but it's a lot vaguer, whereas this is like the Weeknd and his experiences with this woman who he only sees like on Thursdays, and like with the birds you kind of see the dark side of that, where, you know, her jealousy sort of runs amok, and you get the Birds Part 2 where first time you listen to it you're like,
what's going on?
Yeah, you're like, who's talking? And then when you re-listen and you hear lines like, she on the floor, baby got her bleeding, you're like, oh, did his girl, like, shoot another girl? Because when it starts, you hear that girl crying and a gunshot, and you're like, is that a suicide? Like, what did I just hear?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So much of Thursday is that, where you're just like, what is happening?
You're not really sure what's going on. The perfect song to add on to that point is the song Gone. Like, it's literally just 6-7 minutes of just rambling. Like, I think it's freestyle, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a freestyle. He literally said, I have no idea what I said on half of that song. And like, it feels that way.
Yeah, but not in a bad way. Like, it is literally just like a drugged out freestyle.
And the beat switch on there is so like good.
Yeah.
Like, the pacing is so interesting here, because you get Lonely Star, which ends with him like singing the hook of Thursday.
Yeah.
But then we shift into Life of the Party, which is, I've always found such an interesting choice. Like, it works because it gives that, you know, what we're talking about, the energy, pacing sort of. If you put Lonely Star and Thursday together, would they have sounded a bit samey? Whereas breaking them up with Life of the Party, which is such a dark, like, pretty nightmare.
Such a sharp sounding as well when you listen to it.
And that's where you get, like, him playing with those vocal effects where, you know, literally, like, it starts with, like, hello, welcome to the other side. Like, it's like, listen, House of Balloons was fucked up, but let me show you, like, this is, like,
it leans into
we're going to get dark.
Because just, obviously, House of Balloons has a few tracks which are more upbeat. Like, The Morning is pretty much just like an upbeat song. There's not really... But Thursday, it is kind of dark throughout. It kind of keeps the tone.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
Another thing about Thursday is, it's like he's already, like, becoming slightly self-aware. Like with the song Rolling Stone, he's kind of aware of what's going to happen in his shift of sound, where he literally just basically says, like, my sound will change, I'll be different, like, will the fans still like my music?
Which it just,
and obviously
dates it so well.
It has the Drake feature.
Yes, technically the only feature on Trilogy. I know we have Juicy J, but like, that's not feature.
We can't really count that. That's just like he's just ad-libbing.
Yeah, you know, this is the only real feature.
Which is interesting, because this is probably the darkest project. And it doesn't really fit in a way.
It doesn't, but I think it saves it from being too off-putting. You know what I mean? I think it makes it a bit more, I don't know, just a bit lighter in a way.
Yeah, it's just interesting, because The Zone is arguably, I mean, that's just pure R&B sexual type energy.
Yeah.
So and a lot of this tape is not really going for that.
Yeah, but I do think it fits, because you get Thursday, like, in terms of this narrative of, like, him and this girl. Yeah. And you get Thursday, which is their day together, where it's like, I see a girl a day, Thursday's your day, so I don't know, The Zone, like, fits, because it's like, okay, then that's like the night they have together, and this idea of him making love to someone else through her, like, such a...
And then you get The Birds, which is like the aftermath of that.
Yeah, like, you know, you sort of... She's clocked him. You know, in Thursday it's like, baby, it's not Thursday, why you calling? You know, she's like, I need more. Like, you can't give me one day. Like, what kind of psychopath behavior is that? And then obviously she unravels across the Birds Part 1 and 2. And yeah, I think the zone works because the Birds Part 1 and 2 are so dark.
Yeah.
I think it gives a nice breather.
Change in pace. Yeah, don't get me wrong. Like, I love the song Zone. Like,
and I love that Drake and Weeknd collaborated at this point in their career. I love that we got Take Care era Drake and Weeknd, but not just Crew Love. Because as much as I love Crew Love, that's not the sound I think of. Like, this is like this. The Zone sounds like a late night. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, you've just left the club with some girl, you're cruising home to your apartment, and you go up there and like, and it's it just fits so well. Genuinely,
and like you say, it's them both in their R&B bag. Like, it's Drake in his peak Take Care, you know, experimenting with the R&B. Obviously, Weeknd's true to the House of Balloons. Suits. I love the break in the song. Yeah. So you just get the little interlude, and then Drake comes in, and his verse fucking slaps. Yeah.
Although it's on Thursday, saying the line, taking drugs, this ain't you, is hilarious. The most drugged out fucking album in the world. Is like, yo, chill.
I'm taking drugs, ain't
chill, babe. Hilarious. But honestly, Thursday, like, I don't even, like, just fucking, what a mixtape. Like, fucking love it. What do you think of Heaven on Las Vegas as an outro?
It's not as good an outro as The Knowing, in my opinion. It kind of leaves it a bit more up in the air. Like, The Knowing is kind of very final in like what it's trying to preach, whereas I don't know. Weeknd, I don't know. It's
yeah, I get what you mean. It feels a bit more open-ended. To me, Valerie feels like a closer to this album.
Yes, that's going back to the point where obviously I said about 28. I love Valerie. Like,
Valerie's the best trilogy bonus track for me. Like, it's so good. It just sums up the whole album.
And going back to the narrative of it's him and this girl, Valerie, he's just like crying his heart. I was just like, why do you love me? Like,
yeah, literally, like.
And I love he gives it a persona. Like, he gives a name to the character.
Yeah, I was gonna say this girl on the cover art that you're kind of picturing throughout. Like, it really. Yeah, it just brings it all together for me. Whereas Heaven on Las Vegas, I do like it because it's so, like, trippy and vague. Yeah. And I love just, like, the awful things he's saying on there about, like, they say they want heaven, they say they want God. Yeah. I have heaven, I am. And then he, like, trails off. And I love the bit where he's like, I've never prayed once in my life. I've been rewarded with you. And it's, like, the double meaning of, like, you know, this girl is like a fucking freak, but also like is God like punishing him for being a fucking monster to all these women? Like, you know what I mean? Especially when you tie it back into like the Birds Part 1 and 2, where it's like this girl fucking up his life. You know, I just love all of that. And then obviously, you know, it sort of when you listen to all the Weeknd projects, it feels like foreshadowing for like After Hours, where we'll revisit Vegas in a big way.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. Yeah, it's interesting how Vegas is kind of prominent in some of the subject matter.
Well, and literally, you have that line where it's like, "I choose Vegas if they offer Heaven's Gate."
Yeah,
on Faith. And yeah, obviously, Low Life for Life, because I'm heartless, and Low Life for Life is a line off Gone. Like, so it's interesting how much this comes up again and again. As I said, when you listen to them all in order, it almost feels like it's like foreshadowing. You know, when you're watching a movie and they mention something and it don't come up again, then like 3 movies later, it's like, yo, that thing we mentioned.
It's interesting. He's clearly very conscious of his work. But, yeah, it's also interesting with Valerie. I know like Trilogy is kind of a compilation, but it flows very well into Dirty Diana as well, like the DD. It's just Valerie vocally, you can hear the Michael Jackson
Yeah, I get what you mean.
Inspiration in his voice, and obviously DD is just his version of Dirty Diana. It's just another point that I thought was interesting when you listen to Trilogy throughout. But yeah, no.
I mean, should we get into Echoes then?
Sure.
Unless you have more to say about Thursday. As I said, where we kind of briefly mentioned it last pod, I feel like I don't know how much more I have to add. As I said, I just... How do you follow up House? Like, what a task that must have been, and fucking... Yeah. Mad.
So Echoes, for me, when I first heard Trilogy, Echoes was probably my least favourite. But over time, it's kind of gets better every time I listen to it. I think it's very strong in the track listing. I mean, you can't go wrong when you're starting with a Dirty Diana.
Yeah, well, and just like the transitions and flow up to Initiation,
they are great. Like the
flawless.
The Montreal into the outside into EXO the Host,
and then the Host into Initiation. Although the beat doesn't carry over, like it sets it up like perfectly.
And he repeats a few lyrics across that run of songs.
How fucking baller to open with a Michael Jackson cover.
Yeah, like
that's insane.
And I like that it's not just like a cheap like cash grab type thing, because like that never tried. Like he changes the song. It's like if you put Michael Jackson into like that era, like he makes it his, which I like a lot. Also, like Outside, one of the best songs on Trilogy.
Fucking makes you want to like, I don't even know, like knock her walls down or something.
And like you said, the transition. I love the transition from Outside into EXO the Host.
Yeah,
that's beautiful.
And EXO the Host, like I just going back to these samples, that weird like piano. It's from like 1872. Like it's fucking like what?
Yeah.
Like where in your brain did that come from to make that? And then like you get he flips what we're talking about with loft music, where it's like loft music is so upbeat, he like has to chill out to get you ready for the knowing. Whereas this is like the Host chills you out, and then fucking Initiation comes in and is the most demonic shit I've ever heard in my life. Like he's just like evil on that song, like unapologetically, like
and the vocal effect works
so well. Like it's just
like you say, it makes you. I would like
you feel like you're tweaking,
and if you listen to it whilst you were. You would fucking fuck out, because when you listen to it with headphones, it like flows across.
Yeah.
It's like
they sort of do that with the start of EXO as well, where it's like
yeah. The instrumental goes across.
Or I think Gone does that as well, where it's like like just I don't know, like evil in a great way. Like just fuck, man, like. I don't even know what to say about it. As I said, it's just so like dark and but also upbeat enough that it's entertaining to listen to. You're not like, oh man. Like if it was slow, I think you'd be like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like where it's like this doom doom has this powerful beat behind it.
It's kind of like you don't have time to think about it. It's just it's intense.
As we said, it sort of feels like where it's like you're in a million places at once. You're like looking around, bugging out,
and like the use of the lyrics between the Host and Initiation.
Yeah,
ride it out,
just ride it.
yeah.
Just like what a gangbang anthem. I don't even just fucking it. What a tune.
Yeah. Obviously, and then again, like with EXO the Host, you get going back to like the thing with House. Where it's like two parts of a song. I love that on Echoes. And
I love that EXO is sort of like about because EXO's like his label, his like
It's-
brand.
Yeah.
I love that the song is about like the girl he's like embroiled with and her lifestyle, where he sort of delves into it, and it's like, what's the line where it's like, because your mama found your bag stuffed in the laundry. It's really diving into like her life and like how fucked it is, and then it's like EXO, like sort of weaseling his way into her life,
which then is
the host and initiation.
Like now you got to prove, like
and I fucking love that by the end of initiation she's like burnt out and done. Like, it's like just one night trying to fucking leave you out. Like it just shows like the lifestyle that he's living, and how like it's like you're done, like duck out. Why are you still here?
And like another point is just initiation being such a fast-paced song kind of links the idea of like it is something you have to keep up with. You will, where he lives such a wild lifestyle in the music, like how he presents it. Initiation is very that embodied in a song, where it's like it's gonna be fast-paced. It's gonna be weird, and you're gonna have to try and keep up.
And then it like breaks. Which is always my thing, revisiting Echoes. I love Echoes. I have the opposite of you. This was my favourite for ages. And then I still love it. Like, I think they're all fucking masterpieces, but I just find it weird how the first like bunch of songs flow together, then we get initiation, then it's like you know what, like I still love all the songs. It's just the pacing, I'm like,
it's
as
strange.
strange.
It isn't as strong in the way the songs flow as the other two mixtapes. But the first 5 songs are as strong as anything that he's put out, in my opinion. Like,
yeah, of course.
So
I'm not arguing like the quality. I'm just arguing the pacing is very strange. And you can make the same argument that like after The Birds Part 2, like Thursday kind of loses its storyline a bit, and the last 3 are just sort of a bit vaguer. You can argue that. Whereas,
yeah, but I think the last 3 songs on Thursday still stay true to the idea.
I was going to say, I think because Thursday
Echoes
has such a strong sound, whereas Echoes is a bit vaguer.
Yeah, it's definitely more. It's interesting because he starts experimenting with less, not as dark, a little bit more upbeat. Obviously, the Dirty Diana cover, Same Old Song, is kind of nowhere near as like in depth and out there.
Even like Montreal is like sad, but it's not like crushingly, brokenly sad in a way like The Knowing is. It's much more of like, oh, this is a sad song. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, it feels more like a normal breakup song, not a like, oh, I'm sorry I did like a line of coke off you and then like had sex with another woman. Like, I'm sorry. Like, you know what I mean? It just sort of feels more like a normal sad song.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I still love all these songs. Like, Same Old Song fucking slaps.
The Fool.
Next, I fucking adore. Like, what a tune! Like the "Show Me in the Club," she couldn't run. Like, wow.
Keep dancing, baby. Keep dancing, baby.
Once again, what an opening line! She popped that pussy on a Monday. But he makes it sound sad. You're like, oh damn, she popped it on a Monday. Fuck.
No, yeah. I'll be honest. For a while, I thought this was the best tape.
Interesting.
Like, for a while, I genuinely thought it was the best mixtape.
As I said, probably initially when I listened to them, I had the same thing.
It's just obviously we're going to talk about Kissland next, but this and Kissland have like a 4-5 track run where they all flow insanity.
Yeah.
Like, the transitions are beautiful. The quality, the run of the songs are just, yeah.
Yeah. And obviously this ends with Echoes, which is just like misery.
It's just, you can't even enjoy it.
I was gonna say, I never listened to Echoes.
Yeah, it's just like, it's one of them songs where like, yeah, like he didn't even want you to like.
It's just like, fuck just, me, yeah, sad.
Yeah,
and I love that this is how we end Trilogy. Like, the house party is over. It's all over. Everyone's gone home. You're just fucking alone and sad. Yeah. Like, I love that. What a way to end it. Like,
and then it does a similar thing that House does, where you end with something bleak, and then you get Till Dawn as the bonus.
Yeah, which you ruined for me in sick form, and I'm still struggling to recover from.
Girl, I know you so well.
What a great song! First of all,
I
love that line where it's like, "I got a box you can put like all your lies until the end of time." Like,
yeah,
and I love how it flips it, where he's always like the other man in like a good way, like he's what you want, I'm what you need. Whereas this is like, oh, I just slept with her and she's washing her neck and leaving. Oh man, I'm the side piece.
Yeah.
Like it's not like, yeah, I fucked your girl. It's like, oh no, your girl's fucking me. Oh no.
I think it's good as a closer for Trilogy, because it feels like, you know, like you're walking home, like the credits rolling, like
yeah, I get what you mean.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, like yeah, which is something he does well with a lot of albums, I think, where like you get the closer and then it's like, here's a little something. I think Starboy does it great, where like Die For You ends that album, and then I feel it coming, you're like driving into the sunset,
credits
like,
are rolling
Echoes, but just I don't even. It's hard to talk about these mixtapes because they're just so fucking good.
Genuinely,
you know what I mean? Like,
I don't. Honestly, I don't really have like a negative point, genuine negative point about any of them.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's like nitpicks where it's like, oh,
yeah. And if someone were to, we'll get to like the ranking later, but if someone were to say to me, "This is my favorite one," I wouldn't have a strong argument against it.
Yeah, same.
Well, like if you argued it enough, I'd be like, yeah, like okay, fair enough. Like,
I think what holds Thursday and Echoes like a knock against them, if you're being nitpicky, is they are very clearly spin-offs of House. Like it's an extension. I took this from House and I'm doing it differently. You know what I mean? So it kind of makes it hard to ever be like they're better than House, because it's like, yeah, but they're just doing the part. You know, but Thursday's just the party and the after party, the album. You know what I mean? It sort of is hard to do that.
They're different enough. Whereas, like, I could see why you'd have a preference. Because
absolutely.
House is basically just, you know, bangers, hits. Thursday's a bit more niche. Like, if you're into the dark,
Thursday's more of a narrative, booky feel to it.
Yeah, I can see why you'd be into that. And then Echoes is a bit more experimental. Yeah, exactly. Should we move on?
Yeah, because we kind of covered Trilogy, didn't we? We talked about the re-recordings. I think Echoes, like, I could barely tell a difference with most of the songs.
Yeah, I think Echoes has changed the least.
Yeah, definitely. There's a couple bits where I was like, that mix is like very slightly different, but overall it feels so similar. I can't really.
Yeah, I guess Trilogy as a whole. I mean, I don't really like talking about the mixtapes as Trilogy. Just it seems unfair to the mixtapes. It's like they're intended to be listened to individually. I get like they were released over like the course of a year, and you know they're kind of all part of the same narrative. But I hate when people group them. Yeah, Trilogy. Same. Like Trilogy is his best album.
Yeah, like obviously, 30 songs are his best album. Like yes, of course.
But like, give me a name of the mixtape.
Yeah.
And I get it's kind of unfair because like on Spotify or even the CD, it's just like they don't separate it. It is just 3 discs, 30 songs. Like,
and Trilogy is a unique experience compared to the mixtapes to some degree. Yeah. Obviously the music technically isn't, but you know the different mixes, but it's like the pacing of it, the bonus tracks, like it is a different.
It's different, but it's. Obviously, Weeknd never intended it to be like his own thing. It was just, the 3 mixtapes you all loved, so I'm gonna put it in one package, give you 3 extra songs. Yeah, like it's not meant to be viewed as one thing. Yeah.
And then the year after,
we get
Kissland,
the greatest body of music to exist. No. Kissland.
Go on, Aron. Lead the way on Kissland.
Kissland, for me, it's interesting with Kissland because I can't say with chest that there are no drops in quality, because I'll admit, well, to be fair, the only one I would accept as a drop in quality for me would be Live For. Whereas I acknowledge it's probably the weakest collab he has with Drake, and it's a weird gap in the album. But for me, Kissland is inspired by the mixtapes, but he takes it to a different place. It has a theme. It's like tour life. It's weird. You know, it's inspired by like Japan. The aesthetics. I love everything about Kissland. I like the aesthetics. I like the sound. I think it has, in my opinion, the best opener to a Weeknd project in Professional. Like, it's grand. The production is amazing on this throughout. Are we gonna count Odd Look?
I'll count Odd Look. I enjoy that. The Wanderlust remix is a remix. So the thing with Weeknd's deluxes is like none of them, apart from maybe After Hours, none of them are real.
Yeah. In
my brain, you know what I mean? Like all the albums end, and then it's like here's like 4 random remixes or bonus songs.
Yeah, and I think it's more evident with Kissland. Like to me, Kissland was always the 10 songs. Because Odd Look was like a collab with Kavinsky.
Yeah, I mean it's a Kavinsky. Odd Look is a Kavinsky song, and then like his vocals. Like
I never count like remixes of a song.
Yeah, I was gonna say
it's not. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Kissland. What to say about Kissland? Kissland is. I re-listened to this while I was walking at like 10, 11 at night. I just went for a walk. I was like, I need to listen to Kissland. I need to be in the vibe. Perfect vibe for it, honestly. Like, this feels like just a nighttime walk where you're in your own thoughts. Nobody's about. The streets are empty. Like, the thing with Kissland is it is so similar to the mixtapes. It is so clearly... I mean, it's literally 10 songs if you don't include the bonus tracks.
Yeah.
Which makes it hard to be like... Like you said, if you're a Weeknd diehard, you're going to be like, Trilogy and Kissland. Because it is like part of that. It does have its own feel. Kissland is very epic. It's very sprawling. It's only 10 songs, but it's still like almost an hour without the bonus tracks. Like, they're all very long. They all have like 3 or 4 beats in there.
Yeah.
If someone told me they thought Kissland was kind of boring, I wouldn't argue with them. I'd disagree, but I can see how someone doesn't enjoy it. I can't see how someone... You know what I mean? If someone told me I don't like House of Balloons, like you said, I'd just be like, oh, you have a shit taste in music. If you don't like Kissland, I wouldn't be that harsh. I'd be like, give it a chance.
See, my issue with that is I don't see in what world you wouldn't enjoy Kissland if you like the mixtapes.
Because it's weird. I mean, I like that, but like...
it's not... Thursday is weird.
Yes, but Thursday is one feel. Kissland is like R&B, pop, weird, like... nightmare-inducing lyrics,
but that's what makes it like, beautiful.
I know. That's what I like. I'm just saying I get why it's not some people's cup of tea. You know what I mean? There's literally girls screaming on the beat drop, and not like a woo, like a oh my god, I'm being murdered.
Like, you have to appreciate the production.
Absolutely.
On this album, like it's amazing because it's not. It has that vibe of house where like the production still feels like it's kind of choppy, like it's not entirely flawless, but the idea behind the production is amazing. Like there's fucking layers.
Zane Lowe, there's layers, man.
No, come on, like let's go through the track list.
Okay, let's do it one by one. Boom, Professional. Like you said, great opener. I don't know if it's my favorite, but it is up there. It's what an opener!
Beautiful, it's grand.
Sets the tone so well,
amazingly. And this is what I like about Kissland. The mixtapes to me. Don't get me wrong. I'm not claiming they're not grand, but to me,
I mean, they're not. They're very like we said. They've got cheap beats. They're like in a good way. This is like
it's like a shot,
an orchestral nightmare.
Like the mixtapes are like a shot. It's like 10 songs, a shot of music, bang, like everything, bang, 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 bang. Like it's a flow. this is like fucking. It's so grand.
It's a world. Kissland is like has such a distinct like tonal
and
feel.
I
to
get
it.
what you're saying. It's similar to the mixtapes, yes, but instead of presenting an idea of a world like he does in the mixtapes, this is, I'm going to give you how I view it.
Yeah.
And he said this in like interviews, like Kissland is how he experiences the tour life, traveling around the world, how his lifestyle is lived. And for me, I think it's expressed like beautifully. You still have the sex, like Love in the Sky, one of the best slow Weeknd songs, like just pure sexual like energy, like,
well, and just like
Aron, flawless.
The layers, like you listen to it and you're like, okay, he's talking to this girl and he's like trying to put the girl in his mindset, and then you're like, is the girl even real, or is he talking to himself? I don't know. Is he so high? Is the reason it's called Love in the Sky because he gets so high he has an out of body experience and talks to himself, where he's like, what's the bar where he's like, do you feel like you did before? Do you see the world getting like? He's like, do you see what I'm saying? It's like he's having a breakdown to a girl, but it sounds so fucking beautiful.
Because that's what it is. Like, you have to listen to this like for us, because you just, it's. I hate to sound like a cringy hipster, but there's certain music you can only relate to if you're in like a similar situation. Like you said, you had to listen to it when like it was 11 at night, you're walking around. Like
genuinely,
I get it.
like
you need to be in a similar
atmosphere. I'll talk about that with later albums. Like there were specific vibes where I was like, no, I need to hear it this way.
Exactly, and I have it with so many projects, and this is one of them. If you listen to this in drunk, high, whatever, like it's a different experience. And like going back to like fucking the Needle drop, he shat on House of Balloons, said like I think one of the arguments was it wasn't relatable. If you don't relate to music, you don't understand it as well. And I think it exists here in Kissland. Like,
what's so good about this album is that he knows that. He literally tells you this is nothing to relate. Like, don't like where the Weeknd's a character he portrays. I love that this is like him breaking through the wall for a minute and being like, no, don't. I'm not like to be idolized. I'm not your fucking like.
Yeah, I'm not
your fucking. Pardon me. Like he's like, I'm not. What's his name? Joaquin Phoenix's Joker. Like, don't relate to me, man. Don't post memes of me.
Don't dress up as Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn.
You know what I mean?
Your
like,
man is Charlie Joker.
Don't write damaged on your forehead, you idiots. Yeah. You know, I love that Kissland, the song, is such a fucking nightmare. Like, just horrific.
Yeah,
and then he ends it by being like, no, like, fuck off. This is nothing to relate to. I don't care about any of you. Which I think is why maybe some people bounce off it. Because it's like, what? You've got girls who have chipped their teeth because they're doing MD so hard, sucking your dick? What? You're making her hide it behind a grill?
Let's be real. Like, a lot of music, like, the main audiences, they're not, like, living that life. They don't.
Of course.
Especially with this. But for me, it just captures it so well. It like lets you into that world. Like I said earlier, for this is one of the other projects that has a 4 or 5 track run, which is just flawless. It's Professional, The Town, Adaptation, including the transition into Love in the Sky, which is fucking amazing.
And Love in the Sky and To Belong to the World. Just the way the beats kick in,
songs,
the rain in Love in the Sky that then becomes a storm for Belong to the World. Just fucking
like flawless. And like I said earlier, then you get Live For, which, like, I'll admit is a bit of a drop off.
But it does flow. That's what surprised me, because we always talk about the 5 track run. So I was like, okay, now's Live For, and I was like, it actually, like, not beat wise or anything, but like tonally it fits. You're on a high from Belong to the World, and Live For's like, yeah, we're having a good time, man.
Yeah,
you know, where it's the tour life. It's sort of like, yeah, I'm on tour with Drake. We're having a ball with. She looks like Demi Moore, or does she? Like, is that a good thing or a bad thing? I'm still confused when he says she don't look like Demi Moore.
Demi Moore's fire. So take it how you want. Take it with a pinch of salt. my thing with Live For, like, don't get me wrong, I don't think they have a bad song together.
It's just crew love.
And it's not as good.
Yeah.
Drake,
I enjoy it.
It feels like Drake wasn't in the studio. He just sent him a verse.
I mean, we know they'd fallen out, and then this was them being like, no, we're still friends. And it does kind of feel like you said, like, his verse.
It wasn't like their collabs on Take Care, where they were clearly in the studio, like, making something. This was like, Drake, like, can I get a verse?
Yeah, literally.
Then we get Wanderlust, which I think is a great pop song.
It's very good. I won't go as far as great. I think it's a bit long, but I do love it.
But it's like, it's a pop song, but it still, production-wise, feels weird. It's like, you could play that. I mean,
it's sort of the start of him in that 80s vibe, right?
Yeah, it's...
If you
exactly.
I don't know when Dirty Diana comes out, to be fair. That might be the 80s. I'm not sure when it comes out.
I think it is, yeah. Isn't it?
Yeah, but that's not quite the same 80s vibe as like Wanderlust is him playing with. And then every album after this plays with that vibe, because you get like In the Night, and then you get, you know, a lot of Starboy, and then
Angel's very much like a ballad from like the 80s.
Yeah, definitely. So, well, and just like the on Starboy feels,
even a sample like Precious Little Diamond.
Yeah. It's sort of the like we said before with the like foreshadowing. It's sort of the start of like, hey, here's some 80s-ness.
Yes.
Remember this, it will come up later.
And if you put Wanderlust on After Hours, I think it would work. It's got that weird, trippy
I get what you mean.
Spin on the 80s inspiration. I love Wanderlust. Like, I like that it's long. I
really like a lot of it. As I said, it fits the album because it's long, but I see why it didn't like catch on as a pop song.
Yeah. I
also like don't think it flows at all into Kissland the song. He needed like an interlude or something. Yeah. For this album is, the flow of it is so impeccable, and then it's like Precious Little Diamond, and then it's like Suck My Dick on stage, and you're like, what? Like, it just fucking flies to the it goes from like one of his more accessible songs to like Nightmare, like where you're just like, I'm on tour and like I'm drugged out, I might OD, this chick is like...
But then I would argue the last three tracks.
Yeah. They flow together. I'm just saying I wish there was an interlude or something, an out... Where Wanderlust is so long, maybe work a little outro into that darkens it up a bit. That's my only big complaint.
I see what you mean.
I love how he describes this album as like it's a horror movie. It never feels like it in practice. Like, the idea is there. Kissland the song feels like a horror movie. The album as a whole, I get the vibe, but it's like I not quite realised. I think it's something he revisits with After Hours, this idea of like a horror movie, like in a different way.
Yeah,
he sort of makes it more accessible.
I never really, when I listen to it, I don't think of it as like a horror movie in that way. Like,
which I think is my only complaint with the... Because I adore Kissland. Like, I think it is, like... It's not as good as the mixtapes, but it's right up there. I really do love it. I will admit, I've got to be in the mood for Kissland is the thing, but I don't mind that. I don't think that's a problem of music. It's like some movies.
No. Yeah.
You've got to be in the mood for it. This is like a dark European horror movie where you're like, oh man, this is quite fucked up. Am I in the mood to watch this? Not really.
It's kind of like rough in places.
Yeah.
The thing I'll say about Kissland, every time I listen to it, I'm not disappointed. I never go, I like this less over time.
I was going to say, if anything, it's the opposite. I like it more.
And then, obviously, after Kissland, you get Pretty, which is
a masterpiece.
Beautiful song.
I fucking adore Pretty. Like, just the mindset of, like, fuck you. I love that you listen to it the first time, and at first you think he's saying, like, he won't make you feel as pretty as I did. And then you're like, wait, no, it sounds more malicious. It sounds like he's going there to, like, fuck up her self-esteem. You know what I mean? Like, he will never make you feel this pretty again. Like, it's just so dark and bleak. I love it. Really leaning into that, like, villainous side. Like,
yeah.
I love the opening bars where it's like, just know that when I land, you're mine. Like, that dark, like, just
toxic energy.
Yeah, and like how it's inspired by Coming in the Air Tonight. When the second he described it that way, I was like, yes, that's why it's like a dark, like I can feel it. Coming in the Air Tonight is like woo, let's vibe. Whereas this is like, I'm coming, all right. Like, I'm coming to fuck up your life and fuck that guy. What a dickhead. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, it really fits this album so well.
Yeah. And then leading on from that, we get Tears in the Rain, which again, beautiful.
Yes, but I don't love it. I don't
Really?
know what it is. Maybe it's because it's like echoes, where I'm just like,
she has no recollection of the life she had without me.
I love that it's a Blade Runner tie-in, because this whole album has kind of a cyberpunk thing going on. Yeah. And like the music videos lean into that heavy with
Majorly. Yeah.
We didn't talk about any of the trilogy music videos. I think there's a reason for that. They're clearly like the start of his. Whereas after this, like Kissland onwards, the visuals are such like Kissland's visuals are so powerful. I can't not think of the album without them. Like,
amazing.
Belong to the World is just like, fuck. Like, it just fits it so well.
And visually, I think this is my favorite. Like, I love
the vibe.
Everything about it. Like the green,
Definitely.
the bright neon green colors. Oxy, the
like
mascot of the album,
and the weird like sexual nightmare that it is, where it's like porn stars fucking bits. Like, it's not like sexy, it's like
fucking like raw, like you're fucking without a condom. What's going on?
It's like a nightmare. And yeah, I just think like, just the tone the album has, even in the bonus song with like Odd Look. It maintains it, where it's like Tour Life. It's a bit more upbeat. It is very much a bonus song.
Yeah, if you put it like you said, if it was after Live For, leading into Wanderlust, then you had an interlude, it would have. I don't count it as like Kissland, but
I think of it when I think of Kissland. I'll be honest.
See, I don't, to be honest.
That's interesting.
Like, whenever I listen to Kissland, I just listen to this. Whenever I listen to it from start to finish, I don't listen to the.
I think my problem with Odd Look is vocally with The Weeknd, normally he does such a good job at if he's really low or really high in a song, he still drops into one or the other for a moment. Whereas Odd Look, he's just singing high pitched throughout, and you're like, okay, and the hook is going to be like more deep, and it's like, no, it's just it's kind of exhausting by the end of it in a way. I do still really like it. I think it fits the album because it has that like weird sci-fi vibe to it, because it's Kavinsky, who's just a fucking goat.
It works in that way, yeah.
But it is very much a bonus track. As I said, I enjoy it, but like, it doesn't add or take away from my enjoyment of the album in any way.
No. But it's just, Kissland is very interesting to me because after this Weeknd is dead.
Oh yeah, like, even before this, I don't know what this Weeknd. This was like, what can I get away with? It feels like, where it's like, he was showing pornography on his tour. You know what I mean? Like, it was so wild, so out there. Like,
it feels like after the trilogy, he went into himself even more, to the point where, which is interesting because obviously this with Kissland, like the album cover, first time you get like. Who he
like
is,
we said last pod.
But this album, it feels like he's even more into himself, as in like this is my brain in an album, and how he sees stuff.
Yeah, I love it. I love the opening, how we get like Professional, the town adaptation, where it's like him on tour losing this girl, like you know, that is it. What's the one where he's like, did it on the bathroom floor before I went on tour? Is that the town? You said we couldn't do it again.
And did it in a one night stand. You said it was love.
Yes, the town, right? Yeah. I love it. I love the idea that that's him returning to Toronto and like realizing like
it's changed. It's
like you. It's sort of like weird example. Lord of the Rings. They come back to the Shire, but the journey's like changed them. You know what I mean? They're different. Like this life he's been living he can't just come back and be like, yeah, I'm back. It's why, although it is trilogy vibes, it is so different. It at the same time isn't.
Well, but again, like I said, the way he describes this album and like this is how he experienced tour life, because this was immediately after trilogy. He's starting to blow up. bang, he drops this. Like, okay, this was the tour. This was how I experienced it. This is the shit we were doing. Like,
yeah,
he took all that weird shit he was doing in Toronto and then
took it to the world, and like with
Took it
no
on tour.
limit. Like no one could stop him. It's like the drugs before he was broke, but now it's like
he has
now there's
access.
like 20 girls lining up to fucking
Exactly.
suck my dick. Like
Yeah,
it's a nightmare. Like although it sounds cool, it's like nah, man. Like
It's
this
like-
ain't nothing to relate to. Like
Yeah.
this is fucked.
It's like one of the lyrics. I got a brand new place. Twice all year.
Twice
Seen it
all
twice all year.
Well, and like
It's-
just the idea that his drug habits are getting out of hand with like the God damn, I'm high on my, and then he goes into my doctor told me to stop. Like I love the flow of that where
He gave
you
me
think he's
some
gonna
back.
list like what he's high on, and he's like, my doctor told me to stop. Like,
He gave me something. To
but then it's like he's still turning up, and like Kissland the song feels like a spiral where it's like he starts off, it's like, ooh, being sexy, then it's like it's a nightmare until it's just swirling down into just the fucking abyss of like, this ain't nothing to like stop, this is nothing to relate to, this is fucked. Like I love it. Like
with Kissland, if I had to compare it to one of the mixtapes, it would be Thursday.
definitely.
Just like as in, because Thursday was like, it had the thing of Kissland, whereas like this is very weird. It's not as accessible as the other two mixtapes.
Yeah.
And I think Kissland is the same.
It also the thing I like about Kissland, the song, is it like After Hours as a title track. It just the album, like it summarizes it, like everything. Like I love Starboy, great song. If you'd name the album something different, I don't think it would impact it too much.
No.
It sort of fits the album in that it's like poppy, the like
The Daft-
content.
Daft
like,
Punk inspired.
yeah, like it fits the album, but it's not like Kissland or After Hours where I'm like, yes, that is the album summarized, like in the same way. And I just loved it. I love a title
same
track.
with House. Like
Yeah.
Just the track.
I didn't even think of that. Yeah, or I mean, yeah, they all kind of do it really well, but as I said, just
Kissland
looking at
more
the
so.
albums,
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Kissland
Something
and-
about them, it just like, when I think Echoes of Silence, the mixtape, I don't necessarily think of the song Echoes of Silence. Although it being the title track adds meaning, it's not quite the same.
It doesn't capture the whole
Which
feel.
maybe is where we're talking about Thursday, and Kissland feeling that way sort of ties in. Where like Thursday, the song is that album summarized.
Yeah.
Like everything you need to know.
And it's the same with Kissland. In terms of
That's
the,
what,
the,
like,
the breaks in production, you get like a bit of every song. The subject matter is everything from that album.
Yeah.
It's one of the longer tracks on the album. Probably, I mean, easily one of the best.
I was going to say
Easily
one of the it's so hard. Like, yeah, I don't know. It's so hard to pick a favorite with any. Obviously, we didn't even bother with Trilogy, but
maybe we'll do that at the end. We'll do our top 3 from every. That will
I
be
don't even-
hard. But,
yeah.
but
Yeah.
there's no point.
But I will say with Kissland, he was still trying to break into the mainstream, because you do still get Belong to the World, Live For, and Wanderlust, and obviously Odd Look on the extended, but not including that.
Yeah.
Like, I think the reason I don't think he dropped this album and thought like, this will be for my fans and that's it. I think he thought he'd balanced it and didn't realize that, like, no, he hadn't.
I think what it was is the mixtape's got such a good reception. He thought, okay, let me dial that up, and surely that will mean,
Yeah, if I throw a pop song on as well, that's it, right?
And if I dial up the weirdness and the darkness, surely that will mean even more a bigger audience. Obviously, that didn't happen. And then
You lot flopped.
You lot flopped. Now we'll never get done this week. And then
Never
it's
get
interesting
Kissland too.
because Kissland is the realization where this sound will not bring me the mainstream numbers that I want.
Yeah.
And need. And then leading into the next album.
Yeah, obviously
we'll
we
talk
kind
about.
of reboot.
And then we get the start of mainstream pop Weeknd.
World domination.
World
Weeknd.
domination.
So,
Okay.
obviously, after Kissland, you know, it sort of seems like he receded into himself a bit.
I was say, should we talk about the in between?
Yeah, let's talk about it.
Because obviously he takes it's something like 18 months,
Something
nearly
like
2 years
I think so.
between. Well, Kissland's 2013, Beauty's 2015. So
Yeah.
it's 2 years between albums, but he takes time out of music. He drops a few singles, which is where we get often
King of the Fall.
King of the Fall. Do we get anything else in between there?
You get like the remix, like Drunken Love.
Drunken Love. Earned It is 2014, but
yeah. Let's talk about, because Earned It is a big part of Beauty, regardless. Like
massive part.
That is what blew Weeknd up.
Major.
That's how I heard of him.
It was that and the Ariana Grande feature, because I remember they were a very similar time. Love Me Harder.
Quite possibly. I didn't hear that.
I just remember that they were very similar in timing.
Sense. Yeah.
Obviously, Earned It was his single, but that was massive. That like.
I was gonna say that was like everywhere, and that soundtrack in general, because obviously you got the Ellie Goulding song. So yeah, like that was a big part of, like, as I said, that's literally how I heard of him, was someone I knew.
Yeah, I
played Earned It.
A good chunk of the newer Weeknd fan base, it was obviously Earned It.
Yeah,
it was before that he was more underground, a bit more.
Yeah,
niche.
Definitely.
And then that was who's this guy? Like, this
I
is
was
a sexy song.
Earned It took him from a freaky weirdo to like a sexy R&B, like, you know what I mean? It cleaned the image up.
Is interesting because often is Earned It, if it was without a filter, it's like, you know, like,
but like still sexy.
No, yeah.
In a way, like, it's not Kissland. Like, it, as I said, it's leaning more into the R&B. Like, it's not experimental and weird. It's
like scaled back, but not to the point of Earned It, where it's like, it's still, you know, a bit like, I'm a bit of a bad person. Like, I'm a fuckboy.
yeah. But it's like, you're going to enjoy it.
And like often was a big song at the time.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say, it was sort of that Earned It
King of the Fall,
back
like,
to back.
Showed. I think it showed.
He'd
like,
recovered.
It showcased,
I mean?
like, he can kind of rap. Like, the flow on that song is good.
And just like you know what I mean? It's like, okay, but Kissland didn't take off. I don't care.
But now, let me give you some bars.
Yeah, I'm back.
In the city, back in my city.
I make all of them swallow.
And then we get Often, obviously. Again, back-to-back bangers. And then Earned It.
And then
That's
we
the
get Can't Feel My Face, The Hills, Beauty.
Yeah. Beauty.
Let's talk about Beauty. Beauty Behind the Madness.
I have a love and hate relationship with Beauty.
I hadn't heard Beauty in forever, like end to end. Obviously, the songs I like Often, The Hills, whatever. Yeah, I hear them all the time. But as an album, I hadn't heard this in ages. So I was like, listen, Beauty needs to be chilling, my speakers blasting. Like, this was not walking around moodily at night. This was like
laid back, you know, like, there's a few tracks, you know, vibing.
And honestly,
easier listen.
I fucking love this album. I don't know what I'm like. Honestly, Beauty, I remembered, like, yeah, of course, this is why I love this album, because it. Okay, no, it is not on the level of the mixtapes or anything like that. Let's not be ridiculous.
No, of course.
It's not deep and layered in the way Kissland is. That being said, for what this album is going for, I think it fucking knocked it out the park. Like, intros,
Real Life
up there.
Real Life is great.
I love for this album. Perfect, yeah. And I love the progression from Real Life to Angel. Real Life, literally first, like, tell him this boy wasn't meant for loving, and then the growth over the album till you hit Angel, where it's like, fuck.
And Real Life feels like it's an anthem in the sense of, okay, this is me now.
Yeah,
we're not doing that. We're not doing mixtapes Kissland. We're doing this.
Yeah, like
This is me. It's
for the time, like super pop. Obviously, Weeknd's only gotten more poppier since, but
the thing with Beauty is like I said, Weeknd is very good at distinguishing errors. This was like Weeknd as an edgy fuckboy. Like, it's like, you know, it's sexy. It's like, like I'm cool. Like, do you know what I mean? This album portrays it the best, because obviously I know Often was released before, but you still have songs like Often. You have songs.
I was gonna
like
say every song on here I still count as Beauty. I know.
Yeah.
50 Shades of Grey. Blah. Like nah. Like Earned It is a Beauty Behind the Madness song, because even if it wasn't originally intended, it clearly influenced his making of this album, where he was like, okay, let me make an album for Beauty that Beauty lives on.
I think a good example and a good way to explain Beauty, you take the boy from Canada and you throw him in to LA.
Yeah.
That is literally what it is. So he's gone from, you know, being in shitty house parties, and now he's in a fucking hillside
he's chilling with Ed
mansion.
Sheeran.
Still doing what he does, like the drugs and the sex and the parties, but now it's high end.
I was going to. This is where you rack up your finest
exactly.
cocaine. Like, and this is not cut with anything. This is
pure,
straight from Colombia. Like
the song,
he's fucking a supermodel. Like, this is like,
exactly.
I've conquered the world,
and
I am conquering the world. Starboy's like, I've reached the peak.
Yeah, we're gonna do it.
We're going to the moon, hopping the rocket, lads.
And the song that portrays it best is The Hills.
Okay.
In my opinion.
I didn't know you were going to... I thought you were going to say Tell Your Friends.
Tell My Friends is like... For me, it's like the anthem.
That's what I'm saying. To me, that is like...
But what I mean...
We're here. We made it.
What I mean is The Hills captures what I said about this album. It's him, but grand. It's like he's drugged up, sexy, fucking still dark in places. But The Hills was fucking... For what it is, it did numbers. Like, it was number one. It's got one of his highest view counts on YouTube. One of his highest stream counts. And
I'll be honest, I don't care if this makes me a basic bitch. I fucking adore The Hills. I think The Hills is one of his best singles.
How can you not?
It's still dark,
but not.
It's not oppressive though.
Yes.
Like, it's a fun dark. Like, it's like, you know, I'm coming to fuck your girl. Like, it's dark, but like, yeah, man. Like,
like I said, it's just about this transition to The Hills.
Yeah,
Hollywood
literally.
Hills, like,
and like this idea that they're haunted and full of nightmares. Like, the hills have eyes. He's comparing like Hidden Hills to, you know, a literal horror movie. Like, this is, I think, what I love about Beauty. There is still a grip on old Weeknd. It is a reboot.
Yes.
As I said, it's a reboot. It's more accessible, but it still exists. He's still in there. Like,
it has
the hills could fit on like Kissland. It wouldn't fit on the mixtapes, but on the album that has Wanderlust, you could have the hills on there. And there's other songs like that, like we Acquainted, obviously used to be Girls Born in the 90s. Before that, we know it was originally on Kissland, and I think it was Girls Born in the 80s then, but whatever. Well, you know, that I think it's called Heavenly Creatures or whatever.
Yeah,
that he played, where it ends with "Girl, we should be acquainted," and that like fucking blew my mind.
And that song slaps. Should have been on Kissland.
Honestly, but I'm glad it ain't, because Acquainted's one of the best songs on here. And once again, opening line, "Baby, you're no good."
You want me about your type? Loving the
just the way he hits it, you're like, oh.
For me, it's the baby. It's like his lips are like pussy. Baby, you know. No, genuinely, the only thing I'll say about Acquainted is Low Key Girls Born in the 90s is better. Low Key is better. Low Key is better.
No, it is not.
Girls Born
I like Girls Born in the 90s. No, it's not better.
Low Key, man. I like
pussy. It don't have that. It's
I know. Don't get me wrong, I love Acquainted. Like, I'm not hating on it at all, but I love Girls Born in the 90s. Like, and I like that it is still there. Like, it's like the end of Acquainted. Like,
yeah.
He kind of interprets it. But
can I come clean about something?
Yes.
I've never liked Can't Feel My Face. I don't get it.
Disagree.
I think it's cool. I think he's done better pop songs since. I think Wanderlust is better than Can't Feel My Face. I think In the Night is better than Can't Feel My Face. I don't know what it is. I get it. Like, yeah, ooh, it's about coke.
No,
Woo!
but it's
but
fun,
like every
though.
Weeknd song's about
I
coke.
know, but bear in mind at the time, like you didn't have Reminder, Starboy.
But that's what I'm saying. I
and-
think it's dated now. Revisiting it, it was the only song on here I was like, oh yeah.
the
Can't
thing
Feel
I
My Face.
the thing I have with Can't Feel My Face is, for me, it's a fun song. Whenever I put it on, I'm like, like, I can vibe to this. Like, it's calm. Like, I think for what it is, it's a good song. It's a good pop song. Like, that's all it is. It's nothing amazing.
Yeah,
But
it-
I like that.
yeah.
It's like he says in Reminder, he made a pop song
About
chart
his
#1.
face numbing off a bag of blow.
Exactly. Like,
Yeah, I don't know what it is. It's just never clicked with me. And I like pop Weeknd. Like I have a lot of fun with his pop songs. It's just it's not like I'm some edgy hipster that's like, oh, Can't Feel My Face. It's not real Weeknd. I just think he's done better pop songs before and since. Especially since.
yeah, I agree with you, but I just like Can't Feel My Face. Like, Like,
Just for me, I don't know. It's one of my 2 weakest on here.
see, for me, an issue with Pop Weekend, not so much this album, more Starboy, but you cut a few songs out of both this and Starboy, immediately they are
What
like
would you
a
cut?
lot better. From this, Losers can go. But
Damn.
like Losers for me is
Aaron said, fuck Labyrinth.
Fuck
Labyrinth. So Aaron said, you have him on mic.
yeah, for real. You did your thing on Euphoria, but on this, I don't know.
The thing is, I like a bit of Losers. I like the bit where it's like, we did it all alone. I like that bit.
For me, it's like you start with Real Life, and then immediately it's like, and then you
Yeah,
get back
and
to Tell
then
Your
we
Friends.
we're talking about 4-track runs. Tell your friends often the hills
Hills.
acquainted. Boom, 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 boom.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? It's just like,
But you cut Losers, and you can include Real Life. in
that's
it.
the thing.
That's
I
my
agree.
issue with Losers.
It's not bad. I think it's just mid. And I think it's sandwiched between some of the best pop Weekend stuff.
Also, Dark Times you could cut, and I wouldn't be upset.
I like Dark Times.
For me, it didn't really need features. This album.
I'm
It
going to
didn't
agree with
really
you. I'm
need
going to
features.
hate on your wifey here. I don't like Prisoner.
See, that's my favorite feature. But again,
I don't like it.
I wouldn't be upset if it wasn't on the album.
Yeah, I think it's just so like they could do better, and they did do better later on. I think. I'm sorry. It's I don't know what it is. It's just fine. I don't know. I feel nothing towards it. If you erased I'm a prisoner. Like if you erased it from my brain, I wouldn't feel a thing.
If they dropped it as a single, I think it would have got more love outside of an album release. For me, none of the features really earn a place on the album.
Why hating on our boy Ed?
It's Dark Time. It's just
In my dark times. No, because I love how Weeknd comes in on that.
Yeah,
where like you have Ed Sheeran for like the first minute, and you're like, where the fuck is Abel? And then it's like,
let me burn the smoke.
you're like, whoa.
I know, but it's
I don't know. I enjoy Dark Times. I think it fits this album. I think it's the best feature.
see, I'd go
Like you said,
Prisoners.
I don't love
Prisoner,
any of the
sorry.
features. I think it's stronger than Labyrinth's or Lana's, though. Definitely.
I disagree. I would cut.
That's fair enough.
I'd cut Dark. If you cut Dark Times and Losers off this album, there wouldn't really be a miss.
Well, Prisoners would still be there.
I don't think it's a miss though. Genuinely.
See, for me, I think it is. I think it's the weakest song on here, maybe.
Really?
It's either that or Losers. And even then, as
Losers
I said, there's
for
a
me
bit of
easily.
Losers I like. Like, there's like 30 seconds where I'm like, yeah, we did do it all alone. Can't put this inside the test tube. Dum, 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 dum. It's got that funky ass beat.
But he just repeats Abel's verse.
That
It's
is
like,
that is the weakness
It's
of
not.
it.
It's not really doing anything.
And as I said, just the placement of it is like, what? And I think that's what holds Ed and Lana back is why are these two features sandwiched together at the end? Because it's like, oh, hey, I have other people on this album.
Yeah, the fact you get
know
them back
what I
to back
mean?
as well.
Like, you might as well have put Labyrinths down there with him as well and just had 3 features back to back to
Yeah.
back. Like,
It is interesting because, like, obviously talking about the mixtapes in Kissland, like then there aren't really features on any of them. I know you have Drake
yeah.
on
Apart from Drake, though.
exactly,
that's it.
and even then, like he's on Thursday, and that's okay. But Live For's a bit of a throwaway verse. Like he doesn't really have features up until this point.
Yeah, but
and I like that he's
that's part of the
experimenting.
reboot.
Yeah. I like that he's experimenting.
And obviously, Starboy will take that
to another level. But then when you look at his best projects, like they don't have features on. Really,
that's fair. But I don't think the problem is the features. I think it's the quality of the features. Like Ed Sheeran and Weeknd could make a great song. Lana Del Rey and Weeknd did make a great song later on. Labyrinth and Weeknd, absolutely. These days, I want to see him link.
No, definitely.
Now that you know he's found his bag with Euphoria, I want to see Weeknd in on that.
Definitely. But
whereas this Labyrinth is like the mainstream.
This was the one that was featuring with Sia and that. Like, I still think him and Lana haven't made a song to the quality that they could.
Yeah, I mean, I liked that Money Power Glory remix. That wasn't real.
See, that was sexual. Like, that was what I want. That's what I want. Like, give me Ultraviolence, Lana.
But neither of them are that now. I don't want to hear DawnFM Weeknd with whatever the fuck Lana's doing.
I know they missed. It's like him and Drake. They kind of missed.
But even more so, because nowadays I think him and Drake could still do something. I don't think it would meet.
Yeah.
The thing is, they already have two perfect features in The Zone and Crew Love. You know, I mean, we've already had mainstream upbeat Crew Love and dark nighttime sexy. If pole dancing is an art, do you know how many fucking artists I know? It's a good point. Whereas like him and Lana, we got Pop Them with Lust for Life, which is a beautiful song, but apart from that,
and like it works perfectly on Lust for Life.
Oh yeah. That's what I'm saying. For them,
it works
in that point, perfect. But we missed the dark, moody, and so fair enough. We kind of got it with that Money Power Glory remix,
which sounded amazing. Like
should have released it.
They should have.
Would have fit Kissland as well.
It would have been perfect on Ultraviolence even.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just for them too, what they're about. Like early days, they were like the two, you know, all they talk about is drugs and sex. Like, they would have made a great song together.
You know, Weeknd loves white girls, so at the end of the day. What haven't we haven't talked about Shameless. I like Shameless a lot.
Shameless is one of the strongest songs on the album.
I really like it.
It's again,
who's gonna fuck you like me? Love it. Love the confidence.
Again, like. Okay, I said The Hills, but maybe include Often as well as songs that capture this era.
As I said, you could pick any of those, that like 4-track run like for me.
Sexy and drugged up, but not depressing.
Yeah.
The mixtapes.
It's we're doing nice coke.
It's
now.
like this is good. Like we're in LA.
Bro, this is sharp.
It's also a bit depressing, but like we're still turning up.
As I said, we're doing coke and like Fame is a vapid monster that will like suck the soul out of you. But like,
we're number one.
I was gonna say we're number one. We went platinum, baby.
We're winning, baby.
Double platinum with no features. But yeah, I really like Shameless. I think it fits this album really
Shameless,
well.
Obviously Acquainted, beautiful.
In the Night. What do you think of that?
I like In the Night.
I like In the Night. I think it's the best pop song on here. Like straight pop song. And I like how it's like it still is his vibe, you know, it's about this girl who's like living her life and like I don't know, I really like In the Night. Once again, it feels like that 80s vibe. Yeah, again, As You Are. The outro.
Beautiful, yeah.
The way it goes, like, he's like, I'll take you as you are, like, I love you regardless. And then it's like, depression hits in. You're like, oh, man, but what about me? Will you take me as I am? Like, and, like, the beats, like, I love it. Like we said before, with, like, 2-part songs, this is, like, not that. But I do love when his songs have a beat switch and the vibe just changes.
Like we said, it's a ballad. It's a pop. It's like an 80s pop inspired ballad.
Yeah, and yeah, then obviously we get Dark Times Prisoners, but we close it out with one of the best closers in my opinion. Angel is a fucking beautiful masterpiece.
Again, like I said, like it is like that type of ballad type
and
thing.
it's just like
it's grand.
it sums the album up. It completes the story arc that is like vaguely in this album of like, I don't need love, fuck it, ending it with like, no, I've grown as a human being, and like, I hope you find somebody. Like, okay, you didn't take me as I am. You know what I mean? It's sort of like, you get As I Am, she rejects him, so he goes into dark times and prison. Yeah, the thing with Beauty,
Acquainted, it's like, I'm glad we're, in the
yeah,
same circle. Then it's like, Take Me As I Am. And it's like Angel, like...
Yeah, like that. This is where Weeknd's like flirting with the idea of a concept album that obviously he won't revisit until like After Hours, where it's like, hey, there's sort of a through line. It's not a fully developed story, but there is we go from tell him this boy like wasn't meant for loving to like, oh man, I'm sad, I miss you. Hope you're doing good.
And
how's your mum?
It's interesting because obviously Kissland was so... It seemed like he was so dedicated to making this relate to the idea, where it's like tour life. It's meant to be like a horror film.
Yeah.
And this is similar, and it's like parallel in a few ways. Whereas like this is the idea of his transition to like LA, like the big time fame.
Yeah.
And like you said, the narrative with this girl who like he transitions with.
Yeah, well, and like, you sort of get real life losers, tell your friends, where it's sort of like, and even often where it's like, I don't give a shit. Like, I'm living my life, I'm having a good time, I'm in LA. Then you get the Hills, where it's like this kind of dark, fucked up vibe. He's cheating, or this girl's cheating with him, like, you only call me when it's 5:30. Then you hit like Acquainted, Can't Feel My Face, Shameless, where it's like, we're fucking, but like, is it good for us?
Yeah.
Like, it's quite toxic. Then you have Earned It in the, Earned It specifically is like this romantic ballad, and then you have like In the Night, where it's like her flaws, her lifestyle of this woman he's with. As You Are, where it's like, look, we're at the breaking point. Listen, I sang In the Night. I know everything that's up with you.
Yeah.
If you come with me, like, and take me as I am, she clearly doesn't, because then we get Dark Times and Prisoner, which are both the same idea of like, literally, I'm a prisoner to my addiction. I'm stuck in my dark times, like, and then we close it out with Angel, where it's like, look, I realize I'm a shitty human being, but like, tell your mum I miss her. She's cool.
Yeah,
she makes great Yorkshires.
Yeah. The thing is, for me, it's just Beauty is a lot more diluted than what we're used to.
You have to dig for that.
Exactly.
Like, it is there. I won't deny it. I think what puts this, not to spoil it, above Starboy for me is there is something here.
Yeah.
There is that I can delve into. Like you said, he's in LA now. He's living his life.
Exactly.
It's just, I wish it was a bit more at the forefront.
I know we're counting Earned It, but like, even then, can you really count it in the track list? Like, the fact he puts in brackets 50 Shades of Grey.
Yeah, but I gotta get them streams.
No, of course. Yeah, but it's like...
The thing is, as I said, it so clearly influenced this album.
Yeah, definitely.
Because, he talks about after Kissland, he was doing this weird Nirvana-inspired dark vibe. And then, like, he caught on... Like, in Can't Feel My Face. Like, oh, shit, I blew up. Like, whoa.
Yeah. And even, like, with some of the demos for this album, like, it did sound a lot darker. But I think, yeah, like you say, once Earned It dropped and the numbers came in.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Can't Feel My Face was the lead single, along with The Hills, like, them two together.
I think, though, The Hills was, like, a test. Where it was, like, can I still do they only like me for the pop? Or can I still do
Can I put
me?
the edginess? Can I put the drugged up content? Yeah.
And we got to talk about the visuals for this album. This album has some great... The Hills music video is maybe one of his best ever. Like,
one of the most iconic, easily.
Just so good. Like, Tell Your Friends, great video. Often, obviously. Oh, I know it came out before the album, but I just the vibe of it.
Obviously Earned It for what it was trying to do.
And that's it. We were supposed to get Acquainted, but never did.
Eventually he dropped a alternate Can't Feel My Face recently. I like the Can't Feel My Face. It's very simple and on the nose, like like I've sold my soul.
Yeah.
Do you know
but,
what I mean?
But his videos are never like mad subtle. You know what I mean? Like he plays with that, like, hey.
In the Night is a great one.
Oh yeah, of course I've got In the Night.
That's very like neon-y fucking Akira.
Yeah.
Which like Starboy kind of does as well.
Yeah.
Like the colours, the neon type vibe. Yeah. No, Beauty. I think it suffers because it's in an awkward place in his.
Yeah, he's
in his
transitioning.
discography.
He's like, am I pop? Am I R&B? Am I experimental? What am I?
What helps it is that we get Starboy after, and you immediately appreciate Beauty more. But
And like the singles are so good here.
they are, yeah.
Like-
You can't really hate. There's a reason why he blew up with this album.
Yeah.
But it's a great pop album.
Yeah, exactly.
And even then, like, it's nowhere near as pop as Starboy.
I was gonna say, and to me, this is more of an R&B album than just a pop album.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Um,
And even then, the pop songs do have like darker elements.
and it's just sexy. You know what I mean? Like, it's just cool. Like, you know what I mean? You feel cool. You want to like go out, put on like a denim jacket and like vibe.
Like I said, it's like him being edgy and cool. Like now, he's not depressed sitting in an apartment.
Yeah,
This is
exactly.
Like, I have money, but I'm still like dark and mysterious.
Exactly.
Like, so
then we get a load of leaks.
okay, yeah.
You
We'll
know,
talk about the leaks.
Ebony, How Will I Know, Wanna See, Quatre Neuf, all of these leaks of a darker vibe, certainly, undeniably. I don't really know what to say about them other than I don't know when they're from. I don't know if are they the album he was talking about between Kissland and Beauty, where he had this idea and then turned away from it because Earned It popped off.
Maybe because
He's like, oh, let me take some lyrics from those. And
the thing he said about Starboy, because I remember he was meant to tour with Rihanna, and that was after Beauty dropped, and he said the reason he pulled out was because he was feeling super inspired, which led us to Starboy. But like you say, were the demos from that era or were they from before?
Because so, like Ebony has lyrics from Low Life
and Starboy,
yeah, so
which are kind of the same era. Low Life's
Yeah.
before Starboy, but
I was gonna say, but like distinctly close enough to Beauty, you would assume Ebony's around the time of Beauty, maybe.
I think he had 20-30 songs. Half were Starboy-esque, half were the demo-esque. And he was like, I feel inspired. Like, this Starboy-esque sound, we can run with this. We can make a follow-up, you know.
Yeah.
And I think he rode that wave, which, I mean, he clearly rode that wave because we get Starboy, but...
And so, what do you even say about Starboy? So, revisiting this, I forgot that it's a short album. Like, I thought this was like an hour and a half. It's an hour and 8 minutes. It's about as long as the extended Kissland and Beauty.
Yes, but it has the most songs out of any Weeknd album.
But I thought this was going to be a slog, and it wasn't. Because, like, there's the songs I love on here, but I was like, how many songs are on here that I don't remember? I think it flows quite well.
When Starboy dropped, I loved it.
I thought it was better than Beauty, for sure. Oh, I don't know. What the fuck do you say about Starboy? Starboy, first of all, if The Weeknd blew up with Beauty, Starboy like cemented him as a fucking icon. Like
It cemented him as like a chart topper. Yeah, you know,
like a monster of a like artist.
He
where,
can
like,
step to the Drake's like number wise fan base.
Yeah,
it was like,
and that like he's not just an edgy weirdo that people like.
He's
your mum can listen to The Weeknd.
Exactly. He can make a pop song. He has like a mind for it. He has a vision for it.
And his pop songs can still have something to them. You know, Starboy is still like a...
Talking about racking up.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Similar to Beauty, the singles are all amazing for this album.
And like, so like, mind-blowingly good.
Yeah, like Starboy, the first track, I remember when that dropped, I was like, fucking hell, like this
like
slaps.
insanity. There's a reason it was everywhere.
Like,
I know we've gotten kind of worn out on the the drum beat pattern.
Yeah, he does overdo
Weeknd,
it,
but there's a reason Starboy blew up.
Because it was a great song.
And like still is, like, it's so good. Party Monster, Reminder.
It's such a weird era. And I don't know why. I can't really like...
Because this is Weeknd doing a Drake album. Where it's his like, everything.
Kinda.
There is no through. You know how I dug just now to do a through line on Beauty? Even I can't do that on this album. There is no through line. There's no theme. There's no nothing. It's just banger, 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 bang. Like, that is this album in a Drake sense. I can't look at More Life and give you a deep dive of like what that album's about. But I can tell you it's banger, banger, banger. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they're all different genres. They're all different vibes. Like,
but the thing is,
the
difference is we kind of already had that with Drake, with albums like Views. You know, we were kind of used to that with Drake.
But don't forget, Views is the same year as this.
It is, yeah.
Like that, I think this is just an attitude that where streaming's just taking off. Maybe the way we make hit albums now is we just pack them with hits. Fuck the theming, just hits. That's all we need.
That, and I think the reason it was such a quick follow-up is because I think him and his team were like, okay, we've got something now. We've captured like the world, so we need to follow up, and we need to follow up quick, and we need to follow up with like bangers. Like we need to keep the fan base, and we need to cement that we're here to stay. Like,
well,
as
and
a big artist.
You know, even after Beauty, there was a movement of the diehards being like, we miss old Weeknd. So I think that's why we get Party Monster straight away to be like, nah, guys, I'm still fucking doing coke.
Because don't we get Party Monster and I Feel It
Coming together, which is the wildest 2-pack I've ever seen in my life. Fuck. Let's go through this. So I think up until Stargirl Interlude, this is so good. Okay, Rockin' isn't great. Apart from that though, Party Monster, False Alarm, Reminder, Secrets, True Colours.
It's
great.
Solid, yeah, it's solid.
No. It's more than these are some of his best singles.
What? Starboy, Party Monster, yeah. False Alarm was mixed.
I enjoy it though. I'm just gonna say it's grown on me.
I think it's okay. Like
Reminder, Secrets.
Reminder slaps. Secrets is okay, good. True Colours is I
love it, man. It's a ballad. It's
but would you take it over any of like the similar songs on Beauty?
I think it's up there. I don't know. It's a different vibe.
Okay.
I really enjoy True Colours. It makes you feel like you're growing. You know, you're mature. You're listening to like, oh man, yeah. Tell me all your host stories. And then you're like, actually, Stargirl Interlude it is.
This Stargirl Interlude would have worked on a darker album. Here it kind of feels...
it's very random. Yeah. Randomly placed.
Because then you get Sidewalks, which I don't really like.
Damn it!
I don't.
But Kendrick's verse fucking slaps.
Yes, but I hate when
I agree, too much auto-tune is mad.
Like, he don't need it. And I get, like, obviously he's not using it to make his voice sound good. The guy can sing.
It's just for the effect.
Yeah, but I just don't like it on this song.
But Kendrick's verse is so good. I love it. It's one of my favourite features from Kendrick. I love it.
It's a good verse.
Between legs, arms, head. Like, I fucking love it.
Oh, God bless it.
Like, it's such a good verse. And it's like, both of them are like their pop supremacy going ham. As I said, I think the auto-tune is a bit ham. It's why I didn't include it in the run, where I said just up to Stargirl Interlude. Rockin', don't love it. Whatever, moving on.
So then we get...
Mixed with that Adderall! Then we get 6 Feet Under, which I enjoy.
I think, decent. Like,
Future, I get why he's on there. I know he's just the hook, but he fits the vibe.
No, I like 6 Feet.
She gon' kill me for the paper.
6 Feet and Love to Lay for me is just like another mid pop.
A Lonely Night. Listen, I love Billie Jean. Let me rephrase that before they take that out of context. I love the song Billie Jean. Great song. I get he's trying to do a flip where it's like she's having his baby in the song. You know, it's like, why'd you use a life to keep us together? You know, whereas Billie Jean's like,
It's not my song.
yeah, stop, fuck off, get the hell out of here. But why is it where it is? Because you have Love to Late, A Lonely Night, and Attention all back to, and they're just the same song. And it's a shame because A Lonely Night's the best one of the three. But even though it's so good, I think it's one of his best pop songs. It just blends into that album.
See, I would take Attention over Love to Late and A Lonely Night.
I will say,
it's
the original version of A Lonely Night is better.
But that's what I mean. Like, when that exists and you get that, for me, you can group a lot of these songs together. Like, I know you said about Chicanos, but you could group that in that same bracket.
You could also throw in.
You could put Nothing Without You as well.
I mean, even no, because Nothing Without You is slower. Nothing.
Attention's
Nothing
slower,
without you. Yeah, but not in the same way. And subject matter wise, it doesn't stick out. Whereas Nothing Without You does a bit more. You know what I mean? Like, Love to Late, A Lonely Night, and Attention are about like fucking about to some degree. Whereas Nothing Without You is like, oh man, I miss you, babe. I'm sad.
I do like Nothing Without You, to be fair.
I was gonna say, and I think it stands out. I don't get why it's not after All I Know and before Die For You. It's kind of weird. We go Ordinary Life, which is a great song. I love Ordinary Life. I think it's one of the highlights of this album.
Definitely.
I'ma die when I come. What a line. And that flows really well into All I Know, because they're both like whiling out. And then you could end with two ballads. And then, like we said, I Feel It Coming's like the, you know.
Beautiful.
End credits. And Die For You is a beautiful ender. Die For You's probably the best song on here. I don't know. It's up there.
It's up there, yeah. I'll put it in the top three.
Yeah, for sure. Just so good. Beautiful ballad. Closes the album off perfectly.
It's just... with the whole album, for me, you just have too many songs where like, easy listen, but doesn't really do much for me. Whereas Beauty gives you more than that.
There is a level to Beauty I can dive in on. It's loose and kind of forced, but it's better than absolutely nothing.
This is just on the nose. There's nothing to read into.
And I get he was kind of like, oh, I wanted the character of the Starboy to be like Slim Shady, where he's just whiling out, and it's like, he does that better on After Hours.
That's a bit on Beauty.
To some degree. Yeah, but there's only like 2 songs on there where he's like whiling out. Like, I get what he was going for. I don't think it shines through enough here. This is a great collection of songs. It's not a great album.
Even then, for me, you could cut 5-6 songs of this.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's not a great album. There's a great bunch of songs on here, and some of his best pop songs, some of his best ballads, but like you said, just a lot of mid.
It's just you lose a good chunk of the edginess, this bit more sexier nature.
This album isn't sexy enough.
No,
there isn't really one song on here that is sexy. I'm sorry.
Not really, no.
Like, I don't know. It's not as bad as its like reputation amongst like the diehard is, where it's like Starboy's whack. It's not a shit album.
No,
it's a solid album.
It's decent.
It's as good as a good Drake album. Not a great Drake, as a good Drake album.
But like what? Like what Drake album?
More Life. I'll put on par with More Life. No way. Nah, you're bugging. No way. But I don't like More Life as much as you. But that it's like hard, it's better than like a Scorpion.
Okay. You know, I agree with you there. But the thing is, I hold Weeknd to a higher standard than Drake.
Of course.
Like, don't get me wrong.
But that's why I'm saying, like, the reputation this album has is that it's shit amongst the Weeknd diehard. Because it, like, yes, compared this to House Balloons, it's not very good. But honestly, it's a pretty solid album. I revisited it. I was like, this is fun. Once again, blasted it out my speakers while I was like cleaning some stuff. I was like, I'm having a ball.
I think I'll say about Starboy, it's a very easy listen.
Yeah. As I said, it was shorter than I remember. I thought I was going to have to do this in like 3 parts where like I listen to a bit, listen to a bit, listen to a bit. Honestly, I just breezed through it. I was like, what a fun album.
And there are... The thing
we can just be rocking.
The thing I say, like, with a lot of albums, if you like 7-8 songs out of an album, like, you're not doing bad.
Yeah.
And with this album, like, I like at least 8, 9, maybe even 10 songs.
No, I'll give it... How many songs are on there?
18.
18. I'll give it 11. I might give it more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I'll give it 14.
So what don't you like?
Rockin's kind of weak.
Yeah.
All I know is cool, but I don't need it. Love to Lay's kind of weak. Attention, I don't love. That's it.
Baby, we were so baby, we were so strong.
Only thing
Tell
left
me
is
where
the
you
sex.
went from.
Yeah,
I
no.
like Attention. I'll be real.
It's fine. like I don't dislike a single song on here. If you put even Rockin', I know people talk about Rockin' like it fucking raped their mother and murdered their pet dog, but like it's fine. It's fine.
If you want to move like that, I don't hate a song on here. And to
That's
be
what I'm
fair,
saying. There's no Weeknd song you're gonna put a gun to my head and make me be like, it's a shit song. Like, nah, Rockin' is fun. I think the second verse is fun, where he puts that booky British voice on and goes, I need that Adderall. Like, I don't know what he was going for, but it's fun.
If you cut the fat of this album, it would be a great pop album.
There we go.
And a high standard pop album. But you have to cut that. Like,
it's getting a BBL and a half.
Yeah. And like you say, I love, like, the good songs on this are great. Starboy I love, Party Monster
Some
I love,
of his most
Reminder I love.
iconic, easily.
Secrets, great song.
Die For You.
Die For You, great song.
I Feel It
Ordinary
Coming.
Life, like it's some of that sexiness.
Ordinary Life.
Like you get some
It's
of
got
that
a bit of
edginess.
the dark, a bit of, but as I said, it's just not sexy anymore. I don't know.
It doesn't have that, like, I don't want to sound like a fucking edgy teenager, but it doesn't have that, like, edginess and sadness that even Beauty had. Like,
yeah. I get it. There's no Angel here.
No, there's no Often. There's no The Hills. Like, what's the closest you get? Really, what?
Ordinary Life.
Ordinary Life. Maybe
Party
Monster. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, but let's talk about, because Secrets, great pop song. No, absolutely top tier.
But then it's just a cover. Like,
no, but it ain't. Come on. I know he samples
Tears for Fears.
Tears for Fears, but like, no, he does his own spin on it, and I think it's better than
I do like
a song
Secrets.
We'll get to later.
I like Secrets.
For me, it's like a
Secrets.
top three pop Weekend. I love Secrets.
Really?
Yeah, I fucking love it. That booky British voice is doing. I don't know who.
I like
him
Secrets.
To sing like he was born in Manchester,
Like
but
Madonna.
but I really enjoy it.
I don't know. Like I said, I don't know.
I feel it coming.
That's for me. That.
Tell me what you really like.
Na.
Baby, I can take my time.
That's beautiful. The both Daft Punk features are beautiful.
Yeah. They did that thing. Yeah, I don't know. Starboy, mixed bag, but still not as bad as its reputation, I think.
No.
Then
we
Weeknd was very in the public eye, had 2 very high profile breakups.
Yes.
And
Cello.
I think it would be fair to say that, like, the prediction of, like, the Can't Feel My Face music video came true, where it's like the spotlight light burned him out to some degree.
Yeah, because he ghosted after Starboy.
And let's not forget, Starboy, like, amongst the diehard was, like, hated. Because it lasted it was like, what, a year and a half?
And, like, it had, the replay value wasn't there. Let's be real. At the time, nowhere near any of his other projects.
You know, and it was at this point he, like, wouldn't mention Kissland, like, amongst the
had
diehards, there was
biggest
this big
tours.
pushback. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which only added to like this life cycle of that album, where like it felt if This and Beauty had been flipped, where we got a year of Starboy, then a year and a half of another album, I think Starboy would have been more accepted. But because we were stuck with it for so long, you're just like, bruv, this album...
Wow. And it's interesting because going into the next project that we're going to talk about, it was the opposite. Where, for me...
You could have sat with it.
Yeah, I sat with it a lot longer than I did Starboy. And leading in to that, My Dear Melancholy. His shortest project in terms of fewest amount of songs, shortest playtime, but it slaps.
Literally 25 minutes. I thought so. Literally everything you need to know about this album this project is in the first song. Like, go from Die For You or I Feel It Coming, whichever you like, into Call Out My Name, and instantly you're like,
okay.
I literally smiled. I was listening to this smiling, which is psychopath behavior, but honestly, like, you're like, oh, okay, we're sad again.
Yeah.
Like, this proved that, like, you can be mainstream and you don't have to be pop.
Yeah, because it's still accessible, but it's still different to Beauty and Starboy.
It's cleaned up. You know, the darkness is there, but it's not, oh no, I'm gonna OD. It's like, oh no, she broke my heart, man.
Exactly.
Like,
you get this, you get the darkness and the sadness, but it's still very much modern Weeknd.
Yeah, definitely.
But it works.
Yeah. I don't even know what to say with this, because it's so short.
And technically, it's 6 songs because you get Call Out My Name a cappella. That don't count.
You're
that
not
wasn't there.
In the Pitch Perfect squad.
6 songs released just like before he was doing Coachella. So
yeah,
not a miss. I think it's a great mixtape.
I think it's very, very good. I think some songs are slightly weaker, but I think overall it's a great project, and was needed. This sets you up perfect for After Hours.
It's the perfect interlude.
Yeah, you know what I was talking about with Kissland, where it's like you go from Wanderlust to Kissland, you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, this, like, going from Starboy to After Hours.
It would have been a bit dramatic.
Yeah, whereas this is like, listen, guys, okay.
It's perfect. And I think if we don't get this, we don't get After Hours.
Definitely not. Well, because even there was a 2-year gap between, or I don't know when in 2018 this came out. No, it must have been about 2 years.
Yeah, 2 years between this and Starboy, and 2 years.
Yeah,
until we get After Hours.
After Hours. And there was for a while talk about, is this part of a new trilogy? Like, there was that idea that he was maybe doing 3 little tapes like this, which he sort of played into a bit. You know, when people were speculating, oh, My Dear Melancholy ends with a comma, is the next one going to be something? Yeah. And he tweeted just a comma, and everyone was like, oh, fuck.
I'll tell you what, this, like you said, when this came out, I don't think there was a single Weeknd fan that was disappointed.
Yeah.
Because if you like new pop Weeknd, there was stuff for you. If you like being sad with his music, again, there was stuff for you. Basically,
unless you were a crackhead Abel fan, you weren't disappointed. And even then, you got like privilege. It's like, oh yeah, let's take some pills and feel sad.
Yeah. Like, and he switches up the production again. And now he's with, I'm going to butcher this, Giuseppe Stein, who, interestingly, worked with Kanye on Jesus. And he also works with again on After Hours.
Yes. I can't remember what song he does on After Hours.
Me too. I don't know. I think he does. Isn't he credited on a few?
Probably. Obviously, they do Lost in the Fire. But yeah, Call Out My Name. What a fucking opener.
Beautiful song.
Like,
Try Me.
One of my favorites on the album. I think it fucking slaps.
Then we get a bit more upbeat with Wasted Times.
Yeah.
Fucking bop. Like, you can play that in the whip. You can play that
Yeah.
at a motive. I love Wasted Times. Is one of my favourites on the mixtape. We get back into the sadness with I Was Never There.
Yeah.
Production is amazing on that song. Just self-esteem, and he produces on Hurt You as well,
Which is maybe the weakest song on here. I like it, but it feels... It's that drum loop. I don't know.
It's a bit of an extension of I Was Never There. In a way.
But no, I don't know. I Was Never There as like sad. I don't know. I don't really feel that with... Does he have anything on After Hours that's not coming up?
I thought he was, didn't he? He helped producing some After Hours, didn't he?
He's on Donda, but I don't see him on here. I know, obviously, Metro and that.
I swear he did.
I don't know. I don't see it on here. It's not loading very quick.
Let's give it.
It's everyone's
Fact
favourite
check,
bit of the
fact
pod.
check.
Fact check, fact check.
Fuck. How do you spell his name?
I can't get it to load. I'll just say no. You're wrong, Aaron. You're a fucking liar.
Maybe he didn't have one. Either way, there are clear influences that carried over.
Yeah, I mean,
into After Hours.
Jesus is clearly a big influence on Abel. I mean, Weeknd as a whole is very heavily influenced by Ye, but I mean, Tell Your Friends is literally a Ye beat.
Yeah,
So-
that he took. So
I don't know. I think Hurt You also feels a bit weird in the pacing because you go from I Was Never There, depression.org, and then Privilege is after it.
he
which is also
samples.
depression.
Sorry, just to cut. He samples Joseph Osteen on After Hours, the song. So
Aaron, you were a semi-liar.
we're gonna give Aaron a pass.
Well, allow me, bro. But yeah, I don't know. Hurt You's fine. I don't dislike it. It's cool.
You know what it?
It's just okay.
Yeah, for me,
You could cut it and I wouldn't miss it.
it's such a just an. It comes from the era after we get shorter projects like the Kids See Ghosts, Yay, Daytona.
This is better than you. Say it. Say it.
No, yeah.
No, come on.
It is.
None of us would be here without cum. What?
No, it is.
And the beat drops like it's a hard bar. Fuck off.
Let me hear that, right? Like, fuck the out. Come. No, it is.
The way it goes, brr, brr. I'm like, but that wasn't a cool bar. It's expecting me to be like, yeah. And I'm like, wait, what?
But he's spitting facts. No, but
I mean, none of us would.
it's just interesting. Like, you get such high quality projects like Daytona, Kids See Ghosts, and this. It was such a good short thing, but at the same time, considering it was so short, it had such a. For me, I sat with it for a while, and I was satisfied.
Yeah, I mean, we literally did for probably like a year and a half till we got Heartless.
And I at the time I was still like, you know what, like, I'm content.
Yeah, I mean, I think we were all expecting another EP. I don't think any of us were expecting like an album like that.
But it's such a good transitional
and,
project.
And honestly, like, just great songs on here. The beat switch on I Was Never There is insane. Like I said, Try Me, I fucking love. You can play that anywhere. Like you were saying with Wasted Times. I love the flip, like Wasted Times, how it ends. Where it's like, oh no, I'm sad, man. And that leads perfectly into I Was Never There.
It ends with Privilege, which again, like, slower, darker.
And I know if you're listening to the albums in order, the next one's Alone Again, and it does flow into that. But the next single we got was Heartless, and Privilege flows so well into Heartless, where it's like, I'll be back to my old ways. And then Heartless, it opens basically with him saying, I'm back to my old ways.
Never need a bitch, I'm what a bitch needs.
Perfect. So then, After Hours.
So we start with Heartless, the first single.
Greatest opening line once again. He don't miss with these opening lines. Never need a bitch. I'm what a bitch need. What a...
The thing with when Heartless dropped, for me, I had no idea what the album was gonna sound like. I was like, okay, like you're back in like your, like big dick energy, like, kind of like the shades of like Beauty, the bit like edgier stuff like that, but I had no idea what the album was going to sound like.
Drugs once again. We were back to that. Like the cleanliness had dipped a bit. Like it was still cleaner, but it weren't like, oh, I'm sad. It was like, yeah, man, I took like 6 pills and I'm fucking losing it.
And then we get Blinding Lights,
which is like one of the biggest fucking songs ever in the world,
and probably his best pop song.
Oh, for sure. Like, I've never gotten tired of Blinding Lights, which is impressive because it's everywhere.
And like everywhere, like you hear it on the radio, you hear it in McDonald's,
you'll hear it in a shop, like you'll hear it everywhere. And everyone knows Blinding Lights
for good reason. Obviously, once that dropped, and then we got the visuals, then we started getting the vibes. And this, interestingly, even though like Trilogy and Kissland had a vibe and it was very much like an era, After Hours was the first visually to really like, it's like he's playing a character like for this era, where it's everything was this character. Live performances were red suit, glasses, stuff that happened in the music video would carry over to the live performances. Like he would wear the bandage on his nose. Super Bowl, same thing. All the music videos continued from one another.
Yeah.
It was just, But, okay, so let's get into the album. The actual album.
Let's go. Alone Again. One of the best fucking openers ever.
Beautiful.
The beat switch is just like heavenly. It's, I don't even know. Like it just instantly you're like, okay, this is what this album is. Yeah. Like, I'm with you. Like, yeah. Then we get Too Late,
which
more of a pop song,
similar to. I always compare it to Wasted Times of My Dear Melancholy. Like very much.
That's a shout.
The influences from that kind of show there. Great song. I like Too Late a lot. Then we switch it up to like Hardest to Love, which is it sounds like almost like UK garage inspired. Like
I can see.
Do you know what I mean? Like the beat, more like the beat, like the like you try with me so many times.
Yeah. I see what you mean.
Scared it back a bit. Scared to Live.
Yeah, more of a ballad that would fit on like a Beauty for sure. You know what I mean? I like the bit where the vocals come in. It's like, I hope you know that. I hope you know that. And then we get like introspective with Snow Child, where it's sort of like a follow up to like the reminder that tell your friends, like this is like, here's the update on my life.
And beautiful song. I love Snow Child.
And then we hit one of the most insane 4-track runs in Weeknd's history, and I think we've mentioned a 4-track run on every Weeknd album. And so for me to say this is one of the best, like this is a fucking like
amazing.
Escape from LA is like this dark story of like, it starts off kind of light where you're like, oh, okay, like but if you listen to it you're like, wait, that's kind of fucked up. Like you're like, she pillow talks to you about the men trying to fuck her. That's kind of weird. And then the beat switches and it's like him fucking this woman who's
the sexual energy on that beat switch is fucking immense.
The beat switch is almost better than the second half of the song. That's how good the beat switch is.
It's so good.
Like it gets you ready for something evil. And like I like the second half. Like don't get me wrong, I'm not saying it's bad, but like the beat switch is so powerful. You're ready for like, I don't know, fucking Kissland to start playing. You're like, what? Where are we going?
I love the energy on the second half. The production is like scaled up to another level. It's so grand. It kind of reminds me on Professional, that type of production and beat switch. And then it's like Fucking she pulled up to the studio.
Chrome Hearts are going insane.
And the shit's going wild.
And then we hit Heartless, which is like amped up like I just popped
fucking,
a
I'm on my
fucking
shit.
Tesla. I'm losing my mind. I'm running through Vegas.
Then we get Faith.
But wait, sorry, I'm not done with Heartless. Heartless, I love how the song is Heartless. First two verses are him like, fuck it, I'm fucking all these hoes. Then the third verse is like, I've lost my heart. Like, I'm sad. Like, yeah, I'm running through the pussy, need a dog pound, but like, I'm sad, man. Like, I love that. Going back to what we said about House, where it's like, yes, it's all this dark fucked upness, but it still acknowledges like, I'm not fulfilled.
Yeah.
I love that. Then we hit Faith.
Crackhead energy on this one is immense.
Woo! Faith.
Bum bum bum. Na, na,
Mate, put that cocaine on a plate.
Yeah.
Like, what?
The energy is such a shift because, like you say, Escape from LA starts slow. It ends grand, but still like slower paced. Then you get Heartless. The energy's bumped up. Then Faith is just pure. I'm tweaking in Vegas, running down the streets.
Like, and the layers to it.
The production, as I said,
fuck it. First of all, the production on the whole album is flawless. Even the weaker songs have some of the most beautiful production I've ever heard in my life. The Faith, where he's talking about faith in his belief, he's losing his religion because he's living this fucking wild life, which kind of calls back to Kissland, where it's like, been gone so long I might have found God. Then he's like, probably not if I keep my habits up. This is like, I found God, but like, I'm fucking losing it. Then you tied that in with, he mentioned Heaven's Gate, which was like a weird cult, and you're saying I choose Vegas if they offer Heaven's Gate, like, but the double meaning of like, if they're offering you heaven, like, are you picking like Vegas, like your fucking fucked up life of heaven? But Heaven's Gate is like, it's so like, and then it's like the closing bit of the upbeat. Okay, first of all, the most toxic line in the history of mankind is if I OD, I want you to OD right beside me. Insane. What?
I want you to hold me while I'm dying.
While I'm smiling. Like,
and if you know me.
Fuck. Like, this shows that, like, no, Weeknd can balance. Like, you don't need pop or old Weeknd. You can merge them and get this, like, dark, fucked up vibe.
After Hours, it easily has the best balance out of all
easily.
the pop
Perfect
albums.
fusion.
Easily is the best balance. Just through Escape from LA and songs like Faith, it's the sexy, slower stuff you get. And Faith is just the fucking cutting, chewing your jaw off.
Yeah, and like...
And the second half of Faith.
And Faith, where he's talking about, like, looking in the mirror and looking for someone he loves. There's this whole thing where when they say you're on psychedelics, you shouldn't look in the mirror. So is it like, is it a double meaning? Yeah. Like, yes, he's saying I want to look in the mirror and love myself, but is it also like, in the wider storyline of this, is he tweaking and he's looked in the mirror and started bugging because he's seeing like this girl that, you know, this whole album is about like this woman that he's like fallen out of love with and like is destroying his life because he misses her. And it's like, is Faith the point where like it goes from like Heartless, the fun drug trip, to like, oh no, like I'm having a nightmare, and you shift into the second half of Faith, which is just,
it's so bleak.
Woo!
It's so bleak. And the first time I listened to this album, it genuinely blew me away. Like that track Run, The Snow Child, Escape from LA, Heartless, Faith into Blinding Lights, the transition there, and the way they relate to each other.
And it's just recontextualizes Blinding Lights.
He
takes one of everyone's favorite pop songs, and it's like, hey, maybe this is about me either being arrested or being taken to the hospital because I'm ODing.
And like, I like to think that the second half of Faith is just him tweaking in the back of an ambulance. And Blinding Lights it feels like, you know, he somehow gets out of the ambulance and is just like tweaking along the Vegas Strip.
Yeah.
And again, like, I don't know, I can't say enough positive things about Blinding Lights.
Honestly, as I said, the insanity to be as mainstream everywhere as it is, and still it's like Hold On, We're Going Home. Like, it's just that good.
And the whole album, the whole era, I love the dedication to the idea, where it's like everywhere he went, red suit, glasses, black
Yeah.
shirt, tie, all the music videos, the blinding
The
lights,
makeup,
everything.
yeah.
It was such a good commitment to the character that he was presenting. Then we get In Your Eyes. I think is a very good pop song.
I think it's okay. I think Secrets is better and is about the same thing. I've never loved In Your Eyes. Honestly, I kind of prefer the Doja Cat remix. I think it breaks it up a bit more. I quite like her verse on it. And I like her in the background being like, ooh. Yeah, I don't know. In Your Eyes has just never really clicked with me. I enjoy it. It's probably my second least favorite on the album, though. I think it's cool. I like the music video. I love where it's like a Halloween Texas Chainsaw flip.
Yeah, and I like that most of the album sticks to a very similar sound, but not where every song sounds the same. It's like you said, it's very much like as if he wrote this album in an era where every song before he penned it, he was like, it has to at least relate to the idea we're going for.
And then we hit Save Your Tears, which is the second biggest pop song.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
This song only just finished charting, like, literally last week.
And for good reason. Like, it grew on me a lot over time.
Yeah, I was going to say, I know I loved it from the jump, but it took you a while to click with it. I think the music video you said did a lot to make you click with it more.
All the music videos for this I love. I love the Too Late music video. Fucking weird, but in such a good way.
Yeah. The Heartless one, I just fucking like literally just running around this weekend.
I like that and Blinding Lights are like, they kind of lead on from each other.
Yeah.
Well, kind of. I mean, to be fair, all of them, in a way, like relate.
I was gonna say where he blurs the line between like performance and music video and everything. Like it's harder to get a distinct story. Whereas so far with DawnFM, it has been like a
kind of
cohesive story more or less, where each one follows on from the last music video.
And just a side note, I just want to talk about the After Hours short film, because obviously that dropped before the album dropped. Similar, I know we didn't talk about the Starboy one, Mania.
I do like Mania though.
Mania was cool, yeah,
but it does feel like a trailer, if you like, for that.
I mean, and to be fair, After Hours kind of is as well.
Yeah, but it's not teasing the music. Like, Mania is like, hey, here's all the songs. Exactly. But whereas, like, a little bit.
After Hours, you like vaguely hear it in the background, and I love it. It's so weird and dark, like.
And then it leads in straight into In Your Eyes.
Exactly. And it's just so weird. Again, it's like you can interpret in so many ways of what's happening. Again, like the bit in After Hours, the short film where he starts seeing the lights and then he just starts getting dragged across the subway.
Yeah, floor. Well, and you look at the red lights and you're like, oh, does that relate to like when in Heartless when the devil like drives past him in the car and like, oh, he's floating. Does that relate to him floating in Blinding Lights? Like, there's so many things you look at and you're like, what? Like, I don't know. That is such a deep album when you get into it. And
I think he knew this, which is why he stuck to the theme for so long.
Yeah.
Like, it was such a weird change when he stopped. Like, it was noticed by everyone when he stopped wearing the red suit. Like,
I will say the one thing I really wish I'd done before we did this was watch the After Hours Scorsese movie, just to see, like, because I know he's a big Scorsese fan. I do wish I knew that a bit like, closer.
Clearly heavily inspired by.
Yeah, very. So yeah, that's the only thing I'm like, I wish I'd seen more of that, just to see like how it does and doesn't tie in.
But yeah, with After Hours, like we said, easily it has the best balance in terms of it has elements of melancholy, beauty, and I mean even Kissland and Trilogy. Yeah,
I was gonna. This is like him stepping back into the darkness and going like, "Look, guys, you know I can do this. I've done Trilogy. I've done Kissland.
Stop playing with me, this is me.
Let me show you. I can. You know I can do pop. You know I can do dark. Let me show you that like I can put them together, and you're gonna have a fucking good time. All right, like." Stop, like you said, stop playing with me. Like,
and look how big it was. It was massive.
Like, easily his biggest album.
Blinding Lights was like his biggest song. He headlined the Super Bowl halftime show. The album is still charting. I know, like, obviously, Starboy and Beauty is still charting, but like,
This is heavily charting.
Like, all the singles in there, I think they're...
Isn't Blinding Lights the longest running Hot 100 song in history?
It broke the record,
ever?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, we close out the album in a great way. You know, we get Repeat After Me, which is just this...
a beautiful, beautiful song.
It's Tame Impala, right? Going dirt on my shoulder, doesn't understand me. Like, I love that. I love the way it sounds like wedding music, but it's so dark.
Yeah.
But then also, like, Repeat After Me brings you back to, like, that wedding theme and, like, you know, like, repeating, you know, where they're like, repeat after me. Do you, like... It's so layered and like just the darkness of like, look, you can fuck him, but like I know you love me. Like it's so dark. Like I love it. Perfect interlude. Low-key, it's just a song.
It is genuinely.
It's like 2.5 minutes.
And it's
like,
great. It's a great song.
And then we hit After Hours of the song, which is like
beautiful. What? And obviously that dropped as a single after Blinding Lights, and every Weeknd fan had the same reaction to that song. We're like, yeah, we're back in the money, boys.
Like 6 minutes of just like dark, bleak, like sadness.
Yeah, fucking beautiful. And again, like you said,
put myself to sleep. Like there's oh man, just beautiful.
And again, it takes you back to what we were saying earlier with the older projects. Is longer, grand. The beat switch at the end where it slows down.
Yeah. And then you think it's going to be the closer where it's like, oh, I miss you. And then I love that he flips it in the last song where it's like, no. We're not ending this like, I don't know, Melancholy or something. Like we're ending this like, no, it's over. Like the progression of it's like a darker progression. You know where I was talking to real life to Angel, where it goes from like, I don't need love to like, I love you, but like I hope you find somebody. This is like, I'm sad and depressed, and this is like, I'm so sad and depressed, like get out of my life. And like I love the way it flips where it's like, is he talking about a girl, is he talking about drugs? Like I don't know. Like I don't want to touch the sky anymore is clearly like because he's high, right? He's just trying to get over a drug addiction, but like is he just comparing the girl to drugs? Is the whole album about him being addicted to drugs? I don't know. I just love it. I love the idea of like cutting someone out of your life that's so important it feels like you're fucking bleeding to death. I love it. It's so bleak, but like how else could this album couldn't end with the song After Hours. Like as good as that song is,
if it did, it would have been
tonally it ends it on like a hopeful like maybe they will get back. This is like no, I don't want to get back together. Like it's over. I just love it.
What about the bonus tracks?
I think they're cool. These are the only bonus tracks I claim, really. Nothing Compares, I think the beat is amazing. I wish the song was a bit darker.
Again, it kind of feels inspired by like I Was Never There.
Yeah.
Bum,
As I said, it has like this evil beat at the start where it's like where you're ready for like, oh man.
Which is kind of like the I Was Never There, like
or what I was saying about Escape from LA. And it's cool. I really love Missed You though. I think that's a great song. And I think Final Lullaby works as a closer.
Yeah.
It's the only deluxe song where I'm like, yeah, you could close it. I don't think it's as good a closer as Until I Bleed Out.
But I think it
works. We should have got Take Me Back to LA and Hold Your Heart.
Disappointing that we didn't.
Those are great songs. But yeah, just After Hours, man. What a like
beautiful mixtape.
There's a reason we literally talked through like every song on it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like more in depth than just being like, hey, that song. You know what I mean? Like
no, and again, like I know we got DawnFM reasonably. We didn't wait too long for DawnFM, but this would have held me down for at least like another year. There was so much to unpack with this album.
I'm so gutted we didn't get a tour for it.
Yeah, I know, and I know. Like now he's gonna merge.
Yeah, but
it would have been great.
Him in the red suit bugging.
Exactly,
like I'm sure there will be some of that, but
yeah, and you know what the After Hours tour would have been. It would have been same theme.
Well, and easily all
Everything.
the award shows and that he did, easily his best performances he's done. Like, they're just insane. Like you said, the way it carries over.
The Super Bowl one was fucking amazing.
Yeah, the what's the blinding lights one where the fireworks are going off? He's on a rooftop. That one was amazing.
It was some sort of award show.
Yeah, and I love the ones he did in that bookie room where he did like Alone Again, Faith. And
it was the YouTube
In Your
one,
Eyes. Yeah, those were so good. Yeah, just what an era. Honestly, this is like the perfect fusion. Where it's got Pop Weekend, it's got Dark Weekend, it's got everything.
Listen, as like a fan of The Weeknd, it has everything in one album. Like I don't know how you can't like it if you're a Weeknd fan.
And then we got DawnFM.
Why do you say it like that?
Because I wanted to set up to see your reaction. I listened to this again today, end to end. Such an easy listen. Like we said a couple pods ago, where it's just like the flow is so insane. Well. This is a fucking great album.
The music on this album is flawless.
I can't believe it's 51 minutes.
A good
I thought it was
standard.
like 40.
It's such a good standard of music. And first listen, I wasn't sure.
Yeah, same.
But second and third listen, I was like, wow.
And now, like, this last listen, I've got some conspiracy theories about this album. Like, I was delving deep. I was like, oh, fuck, is this what this is about? Like, I love how it leads on from After Hours, where they're this sort of new trilogies talking about. Whether that actually happens, who knows? But
very similar in inspiration. You know, the 80s is set
again, and just the fact he's doing a character every time he does this album. Every performance we've seen, he's in the old man makeup, or he's not, and he's doing the long black coat sort of thing. You know, I mean, like, it's very much like After Hours. I'm playing a character.
Yeah.
Let's go.
So.
Go.
We start with DawnFM, which is basically like starts with like the narration from Jimbo, Jim Carrey, which, by the way, from the get-go, I love the idea of what he has described it as. It's a radio station. You're basically in purgatory, like waiting to be sent to the afterlife. It works so well. The narration is perfect. Then we get the first actual song, Gasoline, which is one of The Weeknd's best songs. I'm gonna put it out.
Right, just straight up best
I'm
songs
gonna
ever.
I'm gonna give it to it. It's a fucking
great.
Sexy dungeon nymphomaniac anthem. Like he's putting on that like the Secrets type voice where it's like it's 5
It's
a.m.
5 a.m. my time again.
And if I find that.
Yeah, and this is what I was talking about with Odd Look, where it's all high pitched. This is like low,
he switches it
and
up.
then he hits you with a high, and you're like, oh fuck, and then it's back to the low again, like
round we
and the bit, that bit where it's like
in this game called love we are love,
and it feels like you're spinning. And I love it when you watch, and I love the meaning of it, where you read into the song, and it's like, he's ODing, like. I love it when you watch me sleep. You spin me around so I can breathe. Like he's laying on his back, choking on his vomit, and she spins him because she's watching him.
Breaking Bad.
Yeah, and like
just wrap my body in the
then you go back to this is a follow-on from After Hours, right? How does After Hours Deluxe end? It ends with Final Lullaby, where go to sleep.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, the layers to the way it connects is so.
Or even with Until I Bleed Out,
Cut
like
You Out My Dreams. Yeah, like. And this idea of like, even DawnFM, the bit he sings on where he's like, this part I do alone. The idea this is a solo journey. His soul is going on like.
Well, the initial idea I got from what he's been saying about the album is, from in After Hours, the character clearly ODs or dies.
Yeah.
And this is them in the passing over.
Yeah.
Like, the way he describes it. You're in this fucking weird purgatory radio
you need to
station.
own up for all your mistakes.
Exactly.
Or you will remain here forever.
Yeah, exactly. Which is why, like, he's old.
And like, he's old because it's all caught up with him. You know what I mean? This is like, I think that's why in the music videos it's the young aggressive him and the old him. Like his soul is broken and hurt, and then like his lifestyle is like, I don't care. And it's like, no, but you do. Like your soul is bleeding and old and frail, and like you know, like so many of these early the first half of this album has so many dark tinges to it. Like you got Gasoline is about ODing and dying. Take My Breath, that sounds like dying, right? Sacrifice is about dying. Out of Time makes it sound like you're dead. You know what I mean? There's so many. The first half of this album, I was trying to figure it out. I was like, why is it so like darkly tinged?
Yeah. And like, I know we had this conversation before, but what I was saying about the album is the overall track list and the songs aren't that dark. But the idea and the tinges you get throughout the album is fucking terrifying. Like, you still get it. Whereas After Hours, in the music, you get the mixture. This is more the sound. You're getting like crystal clear, like amazing quality. But the idea, the narration is so dark. Like every angel is terrifying. Like that summarizes it. Like, what the fuck is that?
The deep dive I went on with that, I was like. So, like, biblical angels in the Bible are, like, frightening to look at. It's like, behold me in fear, I think it's the quote from the Bible. And, like, he's comparing it to, like, celebrities, right? Where he's sort of, he gives a speech at the start and they all applaud him. And then it's, like, it shifts straight into, like, we're selling you stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's, like, he's comparing celebrities to, like the vapidness of fame. Like so much Weeknd stuff is about that, right? Where it's like being famous isn't like all it's cracked up to be. You've sold your soul, you're dying. Like, is it like celebrities are like the angels, where it's like terrifying when you look in, like what are they doing? They're just selling you shit. Like at the end of the day, like it's meaningless. Like your life is shallow. Like, and that's revisited at the end with Phantom Regret, where Jim Carrey's like, what did it all mean? At the end of the day, what did you achieve? Like, but it's just so like what? Like this, and like
4 for 4.
yeah. You know what I mean? It's like immediately, it's like I'm selling you something, even though it should be the most beautiful thing ever. It's like this dark radio station.
And the thing that he's selling is the idea of like death. Like,
and it's like your memories. Like, I'll sell you your good memories, don't worry.
Yeah.
And it's sort of like the flip of Jim at the end, where he's like, no, you got to make peace with the good and the bad. Like, you've got to be heaven to get to heaven. You know what I mean? Like, you can't just buy your way in, sort of thing. Like, that won't bring you happiness. And, you know, that's why he's an old man, because it's like, when do most people die? When they're old. You know? It's sort of him trying to be introspective now, which we get with the Quincy Jones thing.
Interlude.
Where he's sort of looking at his life and he's looking back on it and he's saying, like, here's why I was the way I was with women. And the layers are so fucking deep, man.
It's just, I don't know. I don't think I have a negative point. Okay, the only negative point I think I have about DawnFM are the features.
Yeah, they're not needed.
I could have done without them.
They're not bad.
But
they're not needed.
And for the concept album he was going for, you didn't really need them. Like, the ads, the idea of, like, having ads with Every Angel is terrifying. Even the Phantom Regret, perfect. You didn't really need the features.
Yeah, you didn't need Wayne.
But, like, don't get me wrong, I Heard You're Married slaps. Like,
yeah, because you walk down the aisle, but I'll make you run back.
You've been in control.
I even like, Tyler, you go sign this prenup.
But it just feels like a weird change of pace. Where it's like Tyler's coming on this energy, but
well, and even the song Here We Go Again is so like personal to Weeknd. It feels weird because he's playing such a character throughout. It feels a bit like Snow Child Part 2. Where it's like, here's my life.
Yeah.
You know, or reminder, tell your friend. You know, we can go back every album. And,
Super Bowl.
You know,
like, he's talking about the achievements.
It's weird how much of a character he's playing, and then it's like, yeah, but here's me.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
Like that's the only thing I find jarring about that. It's like everything on here is such a character, and that is him.
But you know, you also get the there's still elements of the following into songs, like, is there someone else into Starry Eyes?
The transition on this are fucking insane. Every single song transitions.
Like, I Tell by Quincy into Out of Time.
Yeah, and the sample on Out of Time is fucking beautiful.
How Do I Make You Love Me?
Midnight Pretenders.
Oh,
is
beautiful, yeah.
Beautiful song to begin with, and like he just did his thing on it.
I love it. The How Do I Make You Love Me into Take My Breath.
Oh, How Do I Make You Love Me is an insane song.
Beautiful.
I fucking love
and
it.
The extended version of Take My Breath makes the song so much better. I love the extended version.
Yeah, I don't love Take My Breath though. I don't know what it is.
I think it's a great song.
I think it's cool. Take my breath. Step on me.
I saw you now.
But like I don't know. I think it's
It's like a dream.
I don't know. I just don't think it's very long for a short album. If that makes sense. Like every song on here is like a crisp 3 minutes. Whereas
I think it needed to be longer though. I think the shorter version isn't as good, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't really have a strong opinion on it either. I think they're cool, but like that's it. They're cool.
And it just works so much better with the transition with How Do I Make You Love Me. Like,
yeah, oh, absolutely. I like the transition. And then what do we go into Sacrifice? Sacrifice is cool.
That's like his thriller. Like, the whole album is like The Weeknd's thriller.
Yeah,
it's just
like the album Thriller.
Yeah, as in like it's so polished.
Yeah,
the music is just flawless. The production is great. But I like that the idea is still kind of depressing. Well, not kind of. It's depressing and dark.
Yeah, and obviously Out of Time we shift into, which is after Tell by Quincy, is just one of his best pop songs.
Beautiful song. I love that song.
Here We Go Again has this beautiful vibe to it where it's like I don't know, it's like sweet but not. Yes. It's like gloating on your ex but also like, I didn't want to be in love but like here we go.
Then Best Friends is kind of like that.
Yeah. What we got? Like and though this is the best bunch of transitions. Best Friends into Is There Someone Else into Starry Eyes is insane. Like the transitions on that bit where on Best Friends it's like
dun, 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 dun.
And then the beat of Is There Someone Else kicks in, and then Is There Someone Else into Starry Eyes. Low key, you could have made it one song. Like that's how smooth it is.
When I first heard it, because I wasn't looking at my phone, I was just chilling there, fried. I just thought it was one song. I assumed it was like
same.
Because Weeknd is, as we said, like he's known for just beat switches.
Because literally, I'd been sat there and I was thinking like, we haven't really had like a two-parter, and then that happened where there's like a beat switch within the song. And then that happened, and I was like, "Oh, here we go." Then I opened my phone, and I was like, "Oh no, this is a different song."
Yeah.
And like Starry Eyes is just like, kick me
to the.
Oh man,
It's gonna be when we get to the other rank. It's gonna be curious because I still don't know.
I have no idea.
But this, like we had the conversation before, this is his.
Pop pinnacle.
It's so good. It's flawless.
It's polished.
I love After Hours, but like I said to you the other day, there's one or two dips. This DawnFM doesn't have.
But this is shorter. This is like
it's
a good
shorter,
20 minutes shorter, 10 minutes shorter. How long is After Hours? An hour? Maybe it's not. Maybe it's only like 4 minutes shorter.
So I'm not going to count the deluxe. After Hours is 56 minutes.
Okay, this is only like 5 minutes shorter, 51.
Yeah.
But there is a lot of interludes on here. So in reality, it's probably like, 45 or something?
Yeah,
it's probably about 10 minutes shorter.
Yeah. But you know, it's...
Don't Break My Heart.
I see you dancing in the...
I don't know what a disco... When I hear discotheque, I picture that room at Prism. You know, where they played like... Yeah. Where they played Killers.
I almost died.
They're playing Ed Sheeran in the Killers. You know where there's the light up floor?
It's just the light up floor.
Oh shit!
Shit.
They had discotheque and they were like, yes!
We fucking summoned it. It's like the disco ball at the top.
Yeah. You know, and it's got the light up floor. That's what I picture. I picture that room at Prism when I hear I almost died in the discotheque.
The thing I find interesting about DawnFM is why haven't we had any more music videos yet?
Because this feels like should be a visual album. Weeknd's been flirting with visual albums for so long.
But
and
we got one
After Hours and this should have been visual album. This especially, it's so short.
What have we got music videos for? Out of Time and Sacrifice. Oh, and Take My Breath.
But also we got that Amazon thing, which I watched, and I was just like, bruv, just make a visual album. If you want to make one, make one. Like,
I liked the you know how he uploaded all the songs where it's him at the DJ booth.
Oh
And
yeah.
he's in that old makeup and he's just vibing. Say I'm never out of time.
Yeah. Don't Break My Heart, banger. I Heard You're Married. Okay. Probably
I think it's a bop.
weaker,
Just a
but
bop. It's
fun.
a bop.
It's fun.
Bop.
Less Than Zero is the greatest song I've ever heard in my
Beautiful,
life.
beautiful.
That makes me feel like I'm in an indie movie and I'm on my bicycle and I'm riding to like my girl who's not my girl anymore because like the school bully, like there was a misunderstanding.
It's like your Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man and you just fucking took the ad off the side of the bus and you get no chicks and MJ.
Yeah, but like I'm on my way to get her. I'm on my way to win her heart.
Yeah,
you know the end of Spider-Man 2 where she's like running through Central Park. It's that in song form. And I was like, Less Than Zero, why is it called this? What is less than zero? Negatives. He's saying he's a negative in her life.
I'll always be less than zero.
Because he's like, I was your hero, I'm not anymore. You've realised like my where he's like, I couldn't save you from my darkest.
Also, it's like he took the vibe of Save Your Tears and somehow made it better.
I'll be real, this might be his greatest pop song ever written. This is like Less Than Zero is fucking. What did you say about earlier? Gasoline. Bruv, Less Than Zero's up there. I don't like that. Is just so. Woo! Like
the thing I find interesting is everyone hated on Gasoline.
Yeah. Which is funny because it was like
no shit.
The one song I liked first time round, apart from I literally liked that, Out of Time and Less Than Zero, and I was like, those three are cool. I'm not sure about the rest of this album, and the rest grew on me. Whereas everyone else was like Gasoline. I don't know about this one.
It's like the only one where you really get fucking weird, dark energy in it. It's like
it's the only one with still like a grip on R&B ish. And even then, not really.
It's kind of like a hybrid song.
It sort of feels like what False Alarm was going for. Where it's like this kind of rocky feel, but like this, rather than the upbeat side of rock, is more the downbeat side.
Yeah.
You know, he literally references REM on there.
Yeah, genuinely.
Yeah, just... and then we close it out with Phantom Regret, which is beautiful and like makes you want to be a better human being. And then we get two remixes on the deluxe, except they took one remix off. They took the Take Your Breath one off.
Oh yeah, they added Moth to a Flame.
Yeah, wait, stop fucking playing with me.
Yeah,
I love that song, but like it ain't on DawnFM.
No, I don't hold a candle. Don't hold a candle.
I mean, I really like it, but like it don't fit. Like what? Why is that there?
I don't count Alternate
World.
World.
And like it upsets me because the title Alternate World makes me feel like every song should have a remix. It's a bit like I said this when he was doing the remixes. I was like, yeah, just remix every song and do like a B-side where it's like After Hours Alternate Edition. And then obviously we got Alternate World. And it's like, yeah, just flip every beat on DawnFM and see what happens. And it's like, nah, we did like two and that was it. So as I said, the only deluxe I really claim is After Hours, and even then, like, ish.
Yeah.
So that's it. Go home.
Talked about every album in depth.
Let's do the rankings.
So
Aron.
I guess obviously we're gonna go weakest to strongest.
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
You go first. Or are we going one at a time? How are we doing this?
I don't mind.
What's bottom?
It has to be Starboy for me.
Okay.
That's my weakest.
Why?
For me, it's bloated.
Mm.
Like I said, I think you could cut 4 or 5 songs, and then it would be a very strong pop album. I think you lose a lot of what I like about The Weeknd. You lose a lot in this album. There's not a lot of the, darkness. A bit of the more sexy stuff. It's not really in this album. Like I said, like you can see he was
There's
inspired.
tinges of it.
There's tinges, but like he was saying, you can see he was clearly inspired. You know, he wanted to dip into a lot of different sounds. Some worked, some didn't work for me. It's not a bad album, but if you had to say which is your least favorite, it probably would be Starboy.
That's fair enough. I don't know. The thing with Melancholy is it's short.
I know.
So I don't know
hard.
where to put it.
But I know for a fact I was so much more happier when I first heard Melancholy than I was when I heard Starboy. Like, yeah.
But when I re-listened to Melancholy yesterday, I was sort of like, yeah, cool. Like, I didn't have any kind of strong emotional reaction. Like, yeah, the thing is, I feel that if you took like the 8, how many songs are on Melancholy? 8? 7? 6. If you took the 6 best songs on Starboy, I think they would be better. Like, yes, okay, there are amazing songs on here, but there are only 6 of them. And I think one of them's weaker than the others. So really, there's like 5 amazing songs and 1 good song. I feel like I could take 6 amazing songs off Starboy, which is cheating because it's an album. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. This is what I'm saying. Whichever one, I'm literally going to decide right now, but whichever one I put below the other, I'm not really sure.
Obviously, it's hard because, like you say, one's 18 songs, one's 6 songs. It's just for what it did. For me, Melancholy put him right. It put him
where
back
he needed
in the
to
right,
be.
Place. It leads to After Hours, which like there were clear. There's a sound and ideas that carry over from Melancholy into After Hours.
Yeah, of course.
And yeah, I think I would put Starboy bottom. For me.
If Starboy was as short as Melancholy, it would be better. But I think if Melancholy was as long as Starboy, it would be better.
See, that's why it's unfair to say.
So,
I'll
agree with you. I'll put Starboy bottom and put Melancholy above it. But I'm not super confident in that either, or I'm not going to argue because I'm going to be kinder to Starboy than you and say on average I like a lot more songs than you do, but it's just not got a depth to it. Whereas at least Melancholy, whilst it's short, has like a lot of cool beat switches in there. It's got
more of a theme, which is a kind of a negative to Starboy, considering it has so many songs.
Yeah,
like, you think you would find some sort of theme, but so, yeah.
Is Melancholy next for you, or is something else?
No, yeah, I'll put Melancholy next. So Starboy, then Melancholy.
Yeah, so we're both in agreement. Starboy, Melancholy, then what?
Then we're gonna go with.
Fuck me. Ooh la la.
So obviously we're counting the mixtapes as individual.
We're counting the mixtapes as individual. The deluxes don't really factor in.
No, let's just do plain.
Yeah.
Normal album.
Because as I said, the only one that would really matter is After Hours, and I don't think it adds or subtracts. No. It's just sort of a lateral move. And even then, he cheated and put Save Your Tears remix on there.
Next, I think I would have to put Beauty. And don't get me wrong, I love Beauty. I just don't think I could put it above any of the other projects left.
Yeah, because I hadn't heard Beauty end to end in ages. I was curious where it would land. And I still love it. I think it's a great album. I think it does have an extra layer of depth than it got credit for at the time.
Definitely, yeah. Especially,
but you do have to stretch.
Yeah.
You know, you heard me like literally when I laid out that theme. I was like, it's a bit of a stretch, but it is there.
And like I understand, like Often Earned It. They clearly weren't originally gonna form an album.
I'll give them credit. They fit better than like when Drake does it.
No, yeah, definitely.
Like God's Plan on Scorpion does not fit.
But like, as in, it's impressive that you still kind of get a cohesive project, even though those songs weren't originally gonna be formed as an album.
Yeah, I mean, I'll agree.
My knowledge, they were, but that's just how I took it.
I'll definitely agree though and put Beauty in the same place. I was curious how it would compare to his more recent albums, just where I haven't heard it in so long. But as much as I like a lot of beauty, I think it just lacks a depth. Whilst it is there, you have to stretch. Whereas every other album, you don't have to stretch at all. Like, it's just there. The depth is there. The polishedness is there. Here, he was held back by some weaker features in a way that DawnFM isn't. Whilst DawnFM has weaker features, they're so brief they don't even matter. You know what I mean? Whereas here, like, you're stuck with all of them for a whole verse and quite a long verse. So yeah.
So we're free for free.
We're free for free. I know we're gonna disagree soon though.
This is where it gets techie.
Let's go. You know, I'm gonna say it.
Go on.
From here on out, every album's a masterpiece.
Genuinely.
I'm not going to argue with anyone that really flips most of these around.
I agree with you, yeah.
The other albums are all very good. Starboy is probably just good. Then after that, it's very good.
But they don't hold a candle.
So these are fucking masterpieces, all of them.
Alright, you go first for this one. Then.
I'll put DawnFM next. I like DawnFM, great album. It's just not the Weeknd I love. Also, that's probably going to switch off soon. I think I had about 3 hours of memory. DawnFM, great album. For what it is so polished. It's just not the Weeknd. Like, I like more R&B Weeknd than pop.
I agree with you. I agree with you. And the thing I find hard and I found hard was, and I said this to you when we first had that chat about DawnFM. The music is so good and polished. For a while, I looked past that.
Bruv, literally, even today, I was making my lunch, like, vibing.
Yeah.
I stood over the hob, like, doing this, like, oh, man, this is fucking cold.
It's so good. And I agree with you completely. Like, when I listen to a Weeknd, there's certain things I want in Weeknd, but this is so good. You look past it.
I think this is what Starboy would have been if it was shaved down. This is Starboy without the fat. Yeah. You know what I mean? Just pop bangers. But at the end of the day, when push comes to shove, there is a level here of deepness. As I said, like this whole afterlife thing.
It works.
The darkness is there to some degree.
And it's just not overpowering. It's not like every other song there's the Jim Carrey intro.
Yeah.
It's not overpowering.
It's just I miss the R&B side. I wish he'd just a bit more in there. I don't need it in this album, but the next one I will want it. You know what I mean? Like, I think for what it is, this album was great. It aged so well, like instantly. Like we both said, like first listen, I was like, "The fuck is this?" And then, pop wise, just some of the best fucking Weeknd music ever. It's
flawless.
Makes me want to like go to a bookie sex dungeon and strangle myself until Jim Carrey starts talking to me. Just beautiful.
The thing that I want to know is what the next album will be like.
Yeah, same.
Because it could either make DawnFM even better, or if it's too similar to DawnFM, you'll be like, okay, like
yeah, definitely.
Do you know what I mean?
Because you can't go more pop, can you?
I don't think you can you?
That's the thing. I don't know.
The only thing you could do is cut out the interludes with, like, you know, the weird bookie shit and just do pure. Which I hope he doesn't. I hope the next one is like really bleak.
Yeah, same. Because Afterlife, like, it could be anything.
Yeah.
Oh, we lost video.
Just have to listen to us.
Fucking long this one is. All right, we're locked in.
I will.
Don't do it. I know what you're thinking of doing. Don't lie to yourself. Look at the track list and commit to what you're about to say.
DawnFM is a better album than After Hours.
Fuck you! I hate you so much. No, it is not.
It's a better album.
It is not.
Look inside your soul.
Stop playing with me.
Look inside your soul.
It ain't. It's clear. It is clear.
Just look inside your soul. It's a better album. And don't get me wrong, I fucking adore After Hours. Like that, when that album drops, religiously, that's all I had. But I have to be honest with myself.
Stop.
DawnFM is more polished. It has no.
Yes, but it's not as the highs aren't as high. Yes, you've polished it more, But it don't matter. Like, at the end of the day, when push comes to shove, song for song, it ain't holding a candle to it. It ain't, like, I'm sorry, it ain't even close. Like, nah. No. No. No.
I think it... I think it does.
That's fair enough. That's fair enough.
And I agree. Like, the thing that's crazy is I agree with you 100%. Like, about what After Hours has. Yeah, it has, like, everything you want. But I can't lie to myself. Like, DawnFM is so flawless. It flows so well. There are no dips for me. The only dip really for me would be maybe Here We Go Again. It is a slight dip in quality. I don't know.
Aron is clearly on crack today. No, fair enough. I get the argument. I just song for song, I don't think it even comes close. I think After Hours has a level of depth that even Dawn don't have. And yeah, as I said, at the end of the day, just the Weeknd I like. There's just more here. I said that there's like 2 songs I don't love, which are which are Scared to Live and In Your Eyes. And even then, I still think they're good songs. They're just okay.
What I will say is these are the only 2 albums that are interchangeable for me. They're the only 2 that I've gone back and forth with. Like, before today, I didn't know. Like, and even now, I'm still a bit...
You're still wrong. Your heart is telling you you're wrong, but it's fair enough.
It's just, I've never had... When DawnFM clicked with me, I was like I said, this is like his Thriller. It's the same level of, like, Thriller. And for me, that's like one of the biggest compliments you can get as an album. It's especially like if you're going for a pop album. So for me, next would be After Hours, then Dawn.
Damn it.
Be different.
That's fair enough. Let's just end the pod here. I don't even know where to rank these. After this, okay, I agree. DawnFM is a masterpiece, but I think every album after Dawn is beyond that. I don't even know how to quantify in words how good these albums are. Like, these are like...
See,
I get your point. I just think in terms of the songs, in terms of the depth, in terms of like the production, like everything, like, yes, Dawn has all of those, but like these next projects are just like, I don't even know how to describe them.
I agree with you. I would...
I know you put the top 4 above the others, but for me, like, I honestly, gun to my head, I don't know which I'm picking out of the next 2. I love them both in very different ways.
I know what you're arguing with, and there's only one answer. I know you think I'm bugging.
Listen. You're... The thing is, After Hours is the perfect blend, whereas Kissland is like the perfect follow-up. Because we're all chasing the top 3 at the end of the day. No matter what you say, the top 3 is cemented, goated. Unless you're on more crack. I'm going to fucking kill you.
Not for me.
I'm going to skin you alive. What? No, stop it. Stop it. I love Kissland. Kissland is a masterpiece. No. It ain't okay, we'll get into it, but no, you're wrong. I'm gonna kill you on air. And no one will convict me. They'll be like, he said After Hours is better than one of the trilogy. You're free to go. I'll put After Hours. No, I'll put Kissland. No, I'll put After Hours. I really don't know. I'll put After Hours just because, like, Kissland's lived with me longer, and I want to bat for that album because it gets a bad rap.
Listen, I appreciate what you're saying about After Hours, and like I said, that and Dawn are interchangeable
For me, After Hours feels like he finally got to revisit where he was going with Kissland. Not in terms of vibe, just in terms of he wanted to make this spooky horror vibe.
And the idea of an era character. After Hours fully realised it.
That's what I love about it. It's like the big budget remake of your indie class. You know what I mean? Like,
genuinely, yeah.
Oh, yeah. The remake's cool. It's got bigger budget. It's got a great cast. It looks beautiful. The effects are amazing. But the original has this grit.
Exactly. Yeah.
But they both have merits. They're just very different vibes. It's not like a bad remake where you're like, this is just the same thing again.
After Hours is his best era in terms of
easily
commitment. Yeah.
And as I said, it's just got some of his best pop songs along with Dawn, obviously. But just concentrate, and there's still that darkness. And also, like, the time it came out in, After Hours was just so, like, I don't know. I needed it. Like, you know, the world was shit.
No.
You know what I mean? Like,
genuinely, you're right, though.
Like, it added to that album, like, just the fact there was, like, here's this just masterpiece for you to just vibe to.
We were in lockdown. We were all sad.
Yeah.
Like, and we got that. And it will always have a fun place in my heart After Hours. Like,
and is the only one that came close. You know, as much as I love Beauty and Starboy, I would never put them over any of the GOATs.
No,
you know what I mean? Same. Like, they feel like a different artist in a way, where you've got to be like, yeah, this is pop Weeknd, and I'm grading that differently. Whereas After Hours is the only one where I'm like, now this is Weeknd still. He's still got that pop thing, but he doesn't feel like this is pop Weeknd. Like, this is Weeknd bringing everything he's done. He's bringing in, like, both sides of his persona, where it's pop and darkness into, like, one vibe.
It's definitely like we said, it's definitely his most, you know, it's got a bit of everything from all his eras.
For sure.
So you've put After
Hours, then Kissland. But honestly, I love them both in very different ways. But
so far we're both Starboy.
The only one we disagreed on was Dawn, where you put Dawn over After Hours.
So I'm After Hours,
and
Dawn.
I said you're smoking crack.
You're Dawn, After Hours, and then you've just confirmed.
I've just put Kissland there. I love Kissland. I'm sorry, you're wrong. Let's go. Let's hear Aron delude himself.
So for me.
Which one?
Oh. Thursday.
No. I'm going to kill you. I'm going to cut
Thursday,
you
it goes
like a fucking seal.
Dawn. Thursday. Thursday's fourth. Thursday gets top 4.
I hate you.
But like you just said, for me, these top 4 are all fucking 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
They're interchangeable.
I know I said that, but like, nah, the top 3 aren't interchangeable. What?
For me, yeah.
How is Thursday is everything like it? Nah. I think Thursday's better than Echoes.
I don't think so.
We might as well give our full right. For me, it goes Echoes, Thursday, House.
For me, it goes House, Echoes.
House?
First, yeah.
You said House, Echoes. Echoes is first.
No, House, Echoes.
Oh, so we counted. I was counting up. You counted down.
I was like, no, I'm not tweaking that,
fucking man. Hell.
Imagine House bottom. Nah.
I was like, what?
For me, it goes House, Echoes. I'll just go for
Thursday.
it. House, Echoes, Kissland, Thursday. That's how it goes for me.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Why?
For starters, Kissland for me, I just love the whole vibe of it.
Yeah, that's sort of what I was saying with After Hours.
Yeah,
same thing.
I love the vibe. I think for me, the track run that we've been talking about throughout all his projects, Kissland probably has joint best with House in terms of House and Echoes, which is why they're top 3. For me, those 3 tapes.
I'd put I don't know, because the thing with House is which track run.
Fucking all 10.
That's what I'm saying. Like, that isn't a track run. You know what I mean? That's just the album.
Okay, then I'll say for me it's Echoes and Kissland. Have the 2.
For me, I would put After Hours on there for the track run, like the fucking Faith. Blinding Lights, Heartless, whatever it is. You know them three, and what's the other one in there?
It's Escape from LA.
Yeah, Escape from LA, Heartless, Faith, Blinding Lights. For me, is like up there.
I disagree.
What as a run? What you?
As in, like, I don't think it's as good as Kisslands and Echoes.
No. I'm saying it's in the top 3 for me. I don't think it's better than either. I don't think. I'll need to think about it. They're so different. I think the thing with After Hours is it does such a good job crossing genres in a way the others do. Whereas like Kisslands is 3 of those 4 songs are very similar. You know what I mean? Like
I get that. Adaptation,
you know what
Love
I mean?
in the Sky is similar, but they flow well.
Yeah, of course.
Into each other.
But it's a different flow. You know what I mean? There's the flow of like these songs sound very beautiful together because they're a very similar vibe, and then there's the flow of like how did you even put these together?
Yeah.
Which is more what Echoes and After Hours have, where they're jumping around a bit more. I think is what I like about them.
It's just you get Professional, The Town, Adaptation, Love in the Sky, Belong to the World. And then with Echoes, you get. What do you get with it? You get DD, Montreal, Outside, EXO the Host, Initiation. Both of them 5-track runs. Both of them slap. And then with After Hours. Escape from LA, Heartless. I don't think it's as strong. I think it's
up there. I don't think it's as good, but I'd put it in the top 3. I don't think they're clear of it in a way that like where it don't even deserve to be mentioned.
Because what would Houses be?
That's what I'm saying. There's no point where it's a run. Like it's just the album. That's why it's top.
Yeah, genuinely. Yeah, I agree. It'd probably be 3rd.
You're on crack. Looking at the Thursday track list, I think.
But Thursday, don't get me wrong. Like
Thursday's the only one I would accept as touching House. It's not as good as House, but it's the only because I think it executes the vision. I don't think it's better than House personally, but if someone said to me, "I think it's better," I'd get it. I'd be like, "Oh yeah," because like the story, the vibe, it's so cohesive in a way that Kissland ain't. As much as I love Kissland, there are those 2-3 songs where you're like, we took a turn here. Whereas Thursday, it's like, none of them. Like, Lonely Star, Life at the Party, Thursday, The Zone, The Birds, Part 1 and 2, Gone, Rolling Stone, Heaven or Las Vegas. If you throw Valerie in there as well, I can't put Kissland's 10 songs over those 10 songs.
I think they stand.
I respect it, but like, nah. I don't even think Echoes touches it.
I just really like Echoes.
I like Echoes. I mean, I more than like Echoes, but like, I think Echoes suffers from having less of an identity. If the whole thing kept going like it was going up to Initiation, but as I said, it just has this strong flow, and then like,
it does.
Just has great songs after that. They don't flow, which is what I have with Kissland, where it has this beautiful flow, and then it's like, oh yeah, I like all these songs, but they don't flow like the opening did.
But really, bar Live For really, what you say Kissland, Pretty and Tears in the Rain don't flow.
I think Wanderlust and Kissland don't flow at all.
But them last 3 tracks, like that's a heavy.
I don't like Tears in the Rain more than a single song on Thursday.
Really, I love Tears in the Rain.
I like it.
It's such a good closer as well.
It is, but it ain't better than any song on Thursday. Is my point. And they're the same length.
Heaven or Las Vegas.
They say they want heaven. They say I am God. Nah.
She has no recollection.
Nah, and Wanderlust ain't touching Thursday.
But what an anthem.
It's a cool song, but when we've got to get brutal with these rankings, there's no way it's touching a sing. Like,
no, okay, I agree with you there. Yeah, it wouldn't touch.
Because this is my thing. They're the same number of songs.
Yeah.
So
Which
it literally
one's
comes
long?
down to song to song. Kissland's got to be.
50 for Thursday, 55. If you include Valerie, they're pretty much the same length.
Yeah. And if we throw Valerie in there,
Valerie's a heavy hitter.
Kissland's gonna get. I'm sorry.
Don't get me wrong. Like,
I love
all
Kissland.
4 of them, I have no negatives. Well,
The thing is, Kissland, I see it for the album. I wish it was.
what do you wish it was?
I wish it was this horror monstrosity that he like teased it being. It is close. I think just something. If you tweak one thing, I think it's there. As I said, I just think he shouldn't have gone for the mainstream sound in that brief bit, because it don't gel with the first few or the last few. Although I prefer some of those songs, like I prefer Wanderlust to Tears in the Rain, but I don't think as a whole it brings the whole thing down, because it's like, hey, a pop song, and you're like, oh, I thought we were having a nightmare. Like, I get it's like the positive of tour life, but it just doesn't blend. It doesn't flow. Whereas Thursday, for me, the beauty behind it is like, it just is. Yeah, it's the whole thing is a nightmare drug trip, like end to end. Gone has like the wildest beat I've ever heard in my life. Rolling Stone is like
beautiful, like chilled out.
Yeah, and like
an interlude.
Just prophetic, where it's like, listen, I'm gonna leave you. Will you still love me? Like, and yeah, you get the Drake feature, which I love. Like I said, just the vibe of the album is so like well executed. I can't.
Listen, the mixed. Like I said,
As
for
I
me,
said, I love Kissland. It ain't touching a single mixtape, and Kissland's better than Echoes.
I think they're all in the same pool. I'd put them all in the same.
They're in the same car. But like Kissland's in the backseat. No, you're not dead. You didn't sneak in, but like, nah. I'm sorry. I just can't. In good, if you held a gun to my head and said you gotta listen to one of these end to end, it's not beating out either of the mixtapes that aren't house. And Echoes, as much as I love it, I just don't think it has that vision that Thursday has. Whilst it has bangers and bangers and bangers,
but I don't think it needs it. Like, the first 2 are so well crafted in that sense. Echoes does feel like he's experimenting a bit more.
Yeah,
like,
I get that. I just think, yeah, I don't know. I just don't think it's as strong as the other 2. I think House is like instant classic. Thursday like takes it in this direction, where it's sort of like, oh, what if we tapped into the drugged out nightmare of it more? And then Echoes goes the other way, where it's like, okay, there were hits on here, or if we go more in that direction.
Yeah.
And you kind of split the difference between the 2 of them. So yeah, I don't know. I just don't think. Yeah, I don't know. As much as I love Kissland, I just don't think it matches them. And yeah, I think Echoes, as I said, just doesn't have the through line that Thursday has to be as good, personally. But that's fair enough. Aron's a crackhead, we learned today. That's wild.
No, I'm happy with that ranking.
So yours is House, Echoes, Kissland, Thursday, Dawn, After Hours, Beauty, Melancholy, Starboy.
Yeah.
And mine is House, Thursday, Echoes, Kissland, After Hours, Dawn, Beauty, Starboy. No, Melancholy, Starboy. So yeah.
Bang.
We did it. Fuck me.
Nearly 3.5 hours.
Yep, the camera ran out of footage, so you lot had best fucking enjoy this. Yeah, if you have your own ranking of the albums, I'll leave like a a question you can answer on Spotify, where we have our new video podcast feature, or YouTube, hit us up. Don't Start a Podcast, drop it in the comments, your own ranking, or get at us on Instagram or TikTok. We have clips we throw up there throughout the week. Don't Start a Podcast, all one word. Give us your thoughts. If you think we're fucking stupid and have the worst list ever, if your favourite is Starboy, let us know.
Show us.
And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this episode. I've been Ben.
I've been Aron.
And we'll catch you next week for some Kendrick, some Future, and some Doctor Strange.
Bit of Moon Knight as well.
Oh, and a bit of Moon Knight. Can't forget him. Peace.